audience. I will introduce the topic, and then I will give each of you, and I stress this, please, brief introductions, right? Brief opening thoughts. And then we'll just kind of get into it. When Prime gets here, we'll throw him in, and we'll see how this goes. Should be a fun discussion. Any questions before we go live?
Nope.
Okay, well then, in that case. Welcome. Oh, hold on. Okay, great. We're unmuted now. Welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of WhickTV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And gang, have we got a show for you tonight? Democrats, do they have a masculinity problem? If they do, how do they fix that problem? What do they have to do to solve it? In what ways are we failing men, if we're failing them at all? We're going to talk about it. We got some great guests. We're going to have at least one more coming soon. Prime Kai, he'll be here when he gets here, and we'll just drag him in, and we'll have him say his piece. But for now, let's give it a start with first-time guest on my channel, Nasser. Nasser, tell people who you are, what you do, and what are your thoughts. Go ahead.
Internet lurker. Generally, I work for the loudest mouth on the internet. I'm not going to say the company's name, but you should know who that fucking person is. He owns multiple companies, but I'm not going to say the company, unfortunately. I don't want to represent it that hard. And I'm just a lurker on the internet. Generally, I do debates on occasion. I'm more likely to be on Primes than yours. This is my first time with you, and I'm happy to be here. I'm going to represent the Democrats don't have a masculinity problem. So that's my side of it.
Okay, we'll get in. Prime also has that same take, but I'll let him give it when he gets here, but we'll get into it. Soy Pill, no stranger to my channel. What are your thoughts on this? Go ahead. Who are you? What do you do? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm the Soy Pill. I make video essays. I sometimes do debates with Wick. Not usually with him, sometimes. The left, I think, has really ceded all of the positive parts of masculinity to the right. I think there's been a huge pendulum shift away from masculinity because there's a lot of traits that we don't like. Toxic masculinity is real. We try to get away from these things that are like machismo and never crying, not showing your emotions. But unfortunately, in doing so, we've also ceded all the things of being a cool, strong lumberjack guy to the right, because the right only has one standard for masculinity, and that is the traditional one. And because that embodies the right, we're kind of afraid to embody that. We're afraid to say, hey, working out is cool. We're afraid to say, hey, you're allowed to be, a player. You're allowed to go be aggressive, not aggressive, but, go out there and, ask women out. Be the first one to ask someone on a date. So I think the left has a problem. I think you look at any of the polling data, and people view the left as pretty emasculate, and I hope that we can change that.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. We'll get into it as we go. Next up, Vasora. Go ahead. Tell us who you are, what do you do, and what are your thoughts? Go ahead.
What's up? I'm Vasora. I stream on YouTube and Twitch Monday to Friday. I cover the news. I talk about political theory, sometimes social issues, generally pretty much whatever I feel like. Look, I keep hearing about this, how Democrats have a masculinity problem. The latest example being like Harry Sison, the 23-year-old TikTok star who allegedly was lying about being monogamous with women on Snapchat. A college kid acting like a college kid. Like suddenly this is a liberal masculinity crisis. This isn't about Democratic men being weak. This is all a distraction that's got like juiced up online by pearl-clutching liberals, but really regime-run bots, I would say more than anything. And the right loves this stuff. They'd rather us be debating on some influencers dating live, talking about Tim Walz and tampons or some stupid shit like that instead of why people can't afford rent. Democrats don't have a masculinity problem. Democrats have a focus problem. Stop capitulating to the Republican narrative. Stop playing the culture war games with them. Start talking about what people actually care about, what actually matters. People's wages, health, social security, the risk of war, the rampant disease spreading across this country. That's it. That's the real issues. This is a non-issue.
Well, thank you for being here. Glad you're here to talk with us. And speaking of non-issues, Prime Kai, welcome to the show. How you doing, buddy?
Fine. Hope you're doing well, friend. And hello to everyone else here. So yeah, I don't think that I didn't hear what everyone else said. So if I repeat something, then I do apologize. But yeah, I don't think Democrats have a masculinity issue like whatsoever. I think we have ceded. Sorry, we, not a Democrat. But I think the left has ceded the territory of like masculinity because we just haven't been fighting on this fighting there. I think that like we spent a lot of time
Brum game, cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
but like at some point that became an opposition to the needs of men, right? That like within like the liberal intelligentsia, right? It became well, if you are trying to concentrate on men, right? If you're trying to say men have a problem, then what you're doing is trying to be subversive and undermine our ability to assist women in with their various issues. But I don't think these things actually have to be in contention. So I think that's something that happened, but we can pull back from that. I think we are pulling back from that, and I think we can address these issues quite easily.
We'll get to it. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you, friend. Last but certainly not least, Bass FC, or Xerxes, as we like to call him here. Who are you? What do you do? And what are your thoughts? Go ahead.
So I like to think of myself as a social commentator. I speak about the male-female dynamic, relationships, trying to find a way to save modernity, so to speak. As far as the topic at hand, I think on a very visceral surface level, it's very easy to see that Democrats 100% shy away from even just the outwardly masculine portrayal. A lot of the young men, they do like to follow. For example, I think Visora just brought up Harry Sesson. They're very weak looking, sometimes pretty effeminate looking individuals. They are unassuming. They are afraid of to have that intimidation factor that is within or is a part of at least people's portrayal or understanding of masculinity. I think it's very easy to see. You can see this a lot with Destiny too. A frail portrayal just physically of these young men who are actually put into the forefront. I think just from that factor alone, you can see they are quite lacking. But also, there's a lot of pandering and disdain they have themselves of other young men as a way to separate themselves. Again, if we use Harry Sesson off the top of my head, I was researching him a little bit for my own video about the topic. I remember this one clip people keep bringing up is him pandering to young ladies, saying that America has failed them in multiple different regards. That pandering and that weakness to just tell people what they want to hear is absolutely the opposite, I think, of what should be considered virtuous or masculine behavior. So I think it's a little obvious when you look at it from the men that a lot of Democrats choose to put in the forefront. So we'll leave it there for now.
And with that, we'll open it up. I know a lot of you want to get in. We're going to start with Visora, and then we'll go to Nasser, and then we'll get on to it. Go ahead.
You're saying that that people like what Harry Sison, that liberal men are effeminate. Harry Sison is literally getting shit right now for sleeping with too many women. And you think that that's not masculine enough? What would you consider masculine on the right, really quickly? Like, just really quick, let me ask a question on that. Who is, like, what's someone masculine on the right? Give me an example.
Our vice president.
Answer that, unfortunately, a lot better than most people.
He probably could. Our vice president, he did 2 tours in Iraq, I think is pretty masculine.
Our vice president who wears makeup and goes on stage and cries?
It's like, cosmetic the photos makeup. And crying also isn't a problem either. I don't think for him.
Like, not crying. If he was actually crying, I would respect that. I mean, whinges about, like, did you say thank you to Zelensky? I feel like that's more effeminate than anything that I've seen out of a Democrat.
Wait, Visora, I'm gonna say this a lot, and I don't like saying this, but I have to defend Xerxes here. Sisson, Dean Withers, all these guys, I agree with their politics, but they are these weird kind of like manufactured Democratic kind of like twinky little boys. They're not really masculine insofar as like what traditionally masculine.
They're not that either. They're generally college students that are literally coming up in a new political era. But also to defend him as well, We have like figures that Trump went on the tour with. We have the Nelk brothers. We have literally the Neon and fucking Aiden Ross and the who's that podcaster with the mullet. Good lord.
I was going to say, you're
goddamn it,
speaking
I
another
forgot.
language right now. I have no idea
None
who
of
these
these
people
people
are.
well,
come off as
But
like
these are all.
manly men.
But these
to
are
me.
all like. But these are all
they
very
aren't.
popular figures in
might
the
be.
current modern zeitgeist that are literally being looked at by other males. Joe Rogan is literally the #1 podcaster in the world.
But
So
you would
not to
absolutely
like,
consider
yeah,
him masculine, though. I don't know if you call him
The,
right wing. Well,
the
maybe so,
hyper
but like,
macho,
he's absolutely masculine.
yeah.
the hyper macho posturing is a Republican value. It's not a Democrat value. In fact, like, look, we had Tim Walz, which, like, you guys made fun of for wanting to give tampons to literally anyone who could need them. But Democrats saw him as he wore like a camo hat, went hunting, could shoot guns. He served in the military at the highest rank of any elected official in
As an
office in
respected
American
official.
history.
And that's what we wanted to, that's what Democrats want to push forward. They want to push forward the respectableness. Whereas in Trump's kind of leaning towards the influential. The influential is kind of not the best with the truth.
Can
When we look
we-
at a Joe Rogan, we don't see him as like a truth teller.
Why does the
Well,
masculinity
I have a
need to
question.
relate
I
to
have a
that?
question.
Hold on. There,
I know,
you
I
all
know.
wanted to go at once. I want to get everyone
Yeah.
I can in here. I want to give it to Prime for a minute, and then
Just
we're
very
gonna give it-
quickly.
yeah.
Can we like bypass most of the confusing nonsense of this conversation and like be a bit more specific as to what we mean by masculinity, right? Because
Simple.
one's gonna say like, "Oh, this person's super masculine," another person's gonna say it's not. Then we're not gonna understand why we have these differences. Can we get a bit more concrete on that? I'd love to hear what you guys say.
So just to be clear, the reason we're having this conversation, the reason we're bringing it up, is because poll after poll after poll shows that Zoomer men, young men, college-age men, they're all hard-leaning right. They're all in an almost unprecedented degree turning to the right. So the question becomes, why are Democrats not appealing to young men? Right?
It's 'cause they hate
whether or
them.
not we have masculine people
I'll
within
answer
the
that
Democratic
one.
Party isn't
It's not about masculinity here. I think it's about a perception of masculinity that's being misconstrued. It's actually about the ability to counterattack. And Democrats are weak with their counterattacking, and because of that, come off as weak in their messaging. And that's the argument.
I think you're missing something critical.
The
actually.
masculinity is just soft bluster.
Hold on, but like it seems like the other side's, at least the other side's argument is that like the left is missing masculine figures, right? So then if we don't understand what we mean by
more than
masculine-
that. See, but I think it's even deeper than that, right? Because I think you're right. One, we should identify masculinity first, but to counter Visora really quickly, I think what you're missing is that a lot of Zoomers don't feel like they're even accepted or even represented by Democrats. And the reason why is because there is a lot of disdain from liberal, feminist, left-leaning side of people for the mere concept or the existence of being a male. Would you accept that?
I would say it's more likely that's a problem in a very specific subset of establishment liberals, but very rarely anything broader to the left of that. And I would say it's much more of an issue on the right, that the right thinks that this is an issue and then creates it. Like, yes, there are women and like even men on the left who have these like thought processes, but they're few and far in between. I feel like most of those people are Joe Rogan watchers, to put it bluntly.
Visora, I don't actually disagree with what
I think
you're
it's
saying.
more of an
but...
issue.
Sorry, can I just say?
Let's go Soy then Nasser.
Yeah,
That's the order.
Visora, what you're saying, especially in your opening statement about that, how this is a non-issue, the only part I disagree with is not that, like, we have a masculinity problem insofar as our men are doing something wrong or that there is a sincere problem we need to fix. The problem is what you're saying, is the perception. And unfortunately, Zoomers are seeing this and they're saying, hey, I, have this perception from media that is, a very pigeonholing for men. Men are big, strong, muscly guys that go do hero stuff and action and save people people and work out, and that's their only understanding of it. Now, they're wrong, right? They are very tunnel visioned in that sense, but the left doesn't have those figures that embody that. In fact, some of us even reject it. And the problem is not that we need that because it's important to have that. The problem is that we've ceded that entire concept, that entire archetype to the right, and therefore all these people who are misled are going to go to the right because they don't see that on the left.
I agree to an extent. Like, I don't think that Gen Z is all that obsessed with masculinity. Like, Gen Z and millennials to an extent, younger millennials, are much more fluid in their gender. They're adaptable to that. The discourse around whether or not it's okay to be a man on the left is manufactured discourse.
But
Sorry,
it's discourse. But it is discourse.
But you're all right. You're all
Yeah,
right. We are ceding this ground, but we don't need to fight on their terms. It's not like we have Fetterman, for example. Dude showed up to the inauguration wearing cargo shorts and a t-shirt. Now, like, you could say that that's masculine, but that didn't make a good difference.
No, it just made him look like a slob, really. That wasn't masculine.
I agree.
But this is a real surface level view of it, right? Like, if I were to ask you, like, what are some masculine virtues you think a young man should exhibit? What would you say they are?
Well, first I would add in
one.
Yeah, I would say first
It is,
that's
but that's not the
subjective.
point of the
But
question.
like I can add some. But I do want to say I don't think that virtues need to be gendered in any way, but
and that
kindness,
right there, that's
empathy.
perfect. That's a perfect response. You can't even give weight to the concept
I literally
of what it
am.
means to be masculine. The first thing you said was maybe it shouldn't be gendered. But that's
No,
what
I'm
Gen Z
saying
is
that
seeing. They're
I'm
not
saying
even
that
seeing
your
or hearing
moral
that
views
being a
shouldn't be
male is
gendered.
good.
Why do you think
again,
that men should have specific standards for their moral behavior that is gendered directly to them?
I'm gonna answer your question. And actually, this is actually thanks to Soy Pill. I've actually updated my opinion on this. Maybe he might like it, maybe he won't. We'll see right now.
I can take
I
a wild
remember
guess that I won't.
I remember one time we had a debate, I think, and he asked me a similar question, or he made a point. He said, everything you labeled about being masculine are all good traits. Why don't we just apply it to women? I say, you know what? He actually has a great point. Why don't we just put it all into women? And that's a great, excellent point. I think it's important
Why doesn't it
that
just
there
apply to
should
people?
be exactly. And I think you guys are right that honestly, virtue should just apply to people generally. The problem is that you don't even begin to see ground that there are good things about being a man. The first thing you did was you filtered it out. You didn't even say, "Oh, well, maybe
that's
there
not
are
what you
some
asked me.
ideals." It is what I asked you.
Hold
What
on.
are some
Hold
positive
on.
virtues
If I may.
about masculinity?
Sure.
That's what I
The
asked
question
you.
was,
Which we both agreed was subjective, but
okay, but that I do want to answer the question. Like, Prime, you're making a real face, and I want you to answer this too, right? Because I think a young man watching this who doesn't really know what it means to be a man, like, he wants to be a man. He wants to be
kindness, empathy, community advocacy.
If I may finish, right? They want to be a man. They're like, how do I do this? What should I do to be a man? And the answer that they're hearing is, well, you know, it shouldn't be gendered anyway. We're not giving an answer, so let's have an answer.
Be a man.
I really want
No,
one.
Visora, the issue is, and this is real quick, Visora, you're being too smart, and this is a bad thing. You are analyzing this from an academic, intelligent perspective, and unfortunately, most people don't view it that way. You and I can have a conversation about toxic masculinity and know exactly what we're talking about, but you say that term to 99% of the population, and they're going to think you're a man-hating, misandrous, feminist, screaming person, right? So the issue,
I don't say that word for that exact reason. You are right.
Exactly.
I am thinking of this at a higher level.
Right. And so it's like, no matter how right you are right now, what matters is how do Democrats win these people back? And unfortunately, telling them, hey, we need to have gender neutral morals, which I agree with. Zerst just said it. Like, that is something I agree with. I maybe could be argued as a gender abolitionist. That's not a winning message right now. We can get there.
What does the right?
Yeah. So
what does the right put out?
Sorry,
go on.
Give it a Prime.
Yeah. So my point is entirely different from Soy Pill. Hello, hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, my point is entirely different from that. So I think that, you know, kids, young men are looking for guidance, right? And they are going out on the places where they can easily connect with other people. And that happens to be social media, right? That's the path that they take. And they're looking, hey, like, what do I like? I'm a little lost here. And we have to have solid answers for them. And so, yeah, I kind of, I mean, I think we're on the same page that, like, I think it's weird to gender these like morals, right? Like a man should be responsible, but like shouldn't a woman be as well, right? We would hate if a woman wasn't responsible. Like all these things I think work. However, right, if we're actually talking to these men, if we're actually going to appeal to them, if we act, and if this is a path for them on their political journey, which apparently it is, right, then we actually do have to have that answer. Yeah, so like a man has to be responsible, he has to be reliable, he has to be able to take leadership roles, right? And we have to show men, like, what does that mean, right? He has to be the support unit for his family, right? Like, these are all like things that we can instill in young men. These are positive traits that we can say that like are masculine. That we can say like the.
Did that fix it, guys? Let me know.
I think since
yeah.
COVID, generally men have been seeking like some answers for particular things. When we look at it, I do believe this is more like a class issue, because we do separate like rural men from like maybe like a corporatist man, where generally they go to college, they go get their higher education. Not all the time, they'll probably end up leaning more left when they do receive that higher education, but generally I do feel like on the college level we've also kind of superseded all that. We gave a lot of the stuff to the left, and there's nothing really.
How's that, guys? I turned the volume down. I think it might be coming out of my headphones into my mic. Sorry about that.
Not to even go to college. Go learn a trade instead,
and go look. Yeah,
class. I know.
Look, I want you to
because well, it is class based because you're learning a trade instead of going to college, and then generally you become blue collar. So generally, and then blue collar is immensely
like you can make a class-based argument
white collar.
Yeah, you're not. So, like, why is the people who have gone to college, why are they less masculine? Like, what's the argument you're making here? Because I don't understand. If you could expand, please.
Well, I mean, that's gonna probably. I think men tend to do that to themselves. They tend to treat college like it is now. Now it is being kind of gendered, because generally now we have like the Andrew Tate, the hustle culture. The hustle culture has made it gendered in a way.
The hustle culture hasn't changed college. Hasn't changed the nature of college.
Well, the Andrew Tate kind of hustle culture, like the grind set culture.
You're saying that there's like
the mental illness that gets.
Like you haven't actually like drawn that out. Like what's the class? Like you're saying, if you look at a man who's gone to college and one who maybe has gone to a trade school, that there's a clear divide in level of masculinity or something. Like, could you expand on that?
Generally. But I think it's because the hustle culture has evolved into being kind of like this unhealthy, like, thing based on, because if you look at Instagram, if you're looking at Instagram and you're looking at Instagram to constantly like kind of get reassurance or maybe find ways to like make money, or you're going to be fed that pipeline.
Okay, but again, that doesn't answer my question. I don't know why you're going to hustle culture. Like you're making an argument. Now, if you're saying that you're backing away from this argument, that's fine. But like I'm asking you to actually draw this out between trade school and college.
Maybe I'll help him out, because I think I see where he's going, but maybe I'm wrong. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But it is seen today as less masculine to go to college, and one of the evidences I would point to showcase that is that more and more men are not seeking higher education. They're either not enrolling in the first place, they are dropping out. We looked at a historical black college. I forget the name of it, but it's 75% women who are attending.
That's crazy. But that's dumb. But Wick, that's the argument.
I agree with you.
To be clear, are you making this argument?
I'm trying to steal man his.
Okay. So if that's the argument, that's a dumb argument, right? Like there are barriers that keep.
I don't think it's a dumb argument. I think maybe
it was. Hold on. Let me counter that, right? And then please hit me back, right?
Counter.
I think. Yeah, exactly. So there are barriers that are keeping men from getting to go to college, right? They don't have as much institutional help that we've like built up for women in the past 2 years. I think there is men who are feeling hopeless and they aren't achieving. I think there's achievement gap that's happening, like the below grades that's keeping men from being able to go. There's a whole list of issues there, and it's been very much studied, right, as to why men are failing. But it's not that there's suddenly a lack of desire to go to college, right? Like, give me a poll or something that says that.
it's the lack of help generally. If I'm going to steal your part of it, it's the lack of general assistance and the outwardly thinking outside.
Guys, is the audio fixed? I'm gonna end myself. This is awful. I'm so sorry.
And women and men learn differently than from themselves from another man and stuff like that. So
Okay,
people
so then it
generally
wouldn't be
have
like
different
the
learning.
point that Wick made.
Yeah.
Then. That would be like that's
Again,
I do want to hear from Visora.
I think there's just a bastardization of like, because the media is even picking it up. Like Joe Rogan's like, you probably don't. They kind of hint at stuff like that, and the higher. But people listen to these figures. I know. You can just dismiss it, Prime, because you don't listen to any.
I'm
of these
asking you to
things.
explain. You're just making assertion after assertion after assertion, and then I push back slightly, right, on you. Hey, expand on this, and then you move to another assertion. You don't actually expand on it. So please, like help us out. Here. We're making all these
expand on
claims.
you're making a class argument. Let me expand on it for you for a second. The class argument comes from the lower socioeconomic status men are feeling more emasculated because of the upper socioeconomic status people changing algorithms where everybody engages and gets their news from Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, doesn't matter, to show more outrage, because that's what gets you to do more engagement. We've seen this. It's been studied. It's been shown in Senate hearings. It's outrage,
and maybe it will push.
I'll take it a step further from this.
Yeah.
I'll take a step further from this. I think that this entire, even this current discussion of do the Democrats have a masculinity problem is based on an assumption that is a lie. We are lying to ourselves because the Republicans are not masculine. Republican figures are not masculine. Trump is loud. He's not masculine. Andrew Tate wears women's jackets and women's pants. And is also not masculine. Beating women up, raping them, and saying that you hate women is not being masculine. You want to know what masculinity means to me? Masculine traits of that you could apply to young people that you can advocate for is community advocacy. Going outside and protecting vulnerable people in your community because you are strong and because you take that onto yourself. It would be working to better the lives of people around you. These are what I would
why would
consider.
you think a Republican or the right?
You know what sucks about misogyny is that the sad part is it works.
I'll let you go in a second, but this is an important point, and I think this is kind of hitting at the core of the issue here that I want to get. Like Prime just laid out a host of systemic disadvantages that men have when it comes to higher education, right? For a host of reasons. Okay, then the question becomes, well, I'll just ask this simply to everyone: like, what Democratic policy is out there that is purported to help men? What Democratic policy is being pushed forward to help men? Because we acknowledge that we're in a crisis of sorts.
Child tax credit, equal maternity leave, anything that's all-encompassing and universal. Like, these are all
Hell,
things that
Biden was getting rid of student debt.
Having children.
Child tax credit is your answer to what
do you know that men have children too?
We're talking about systemic
but
things
at a lower rate to women.
No, first of all,
probably the better route would be better education, more outlets for students at the youth, and all that stuff.
You can't go to school if you're stuck home taking care of your kids. You can't go to, for example, Biden was erasing student debt, which was helping men and women.
And Wick, you hit the nail on the head. You immediately questioned me when I said that because the messaging is bad, right? You're like, I'm not saying, hey, men, this would be good for you. I'm saying this will be good for everyone. Men don't hear, oh, that's good for me. They hear that from the right who say, well, men are oppressed. So you go and you talk to the right, and they're pandering.
No, but you're right, and it's the optics. And to be really clear about it, you're 100% right. The child tax credit and subsidies to childcare do help men, but the right wing saying that men are oppressed while they're the ones instituting practices that continue not only the oppression of men but everyone else and make it worse is the issue here. How are you talking about education issues when the Republican Party is cutting the Department of Education, is cutting funding to universities that they disagree with, is making all of the tax cuts, not the tax cuts, sorry, the student debt cuts that Biden instituted reversed. So now you have to pay that back again. Like, the economic aspect of it absolutely falls into everything else. Like, if you can't afford to live, then that's your main issue. Right now, I think that the people who, the masculine, feminine, like, none of that matters. It's people that are in the working class, worry about getting substance for themselves.
I think it does
their
matter.
housing.
Well,
Their,
when
like,
we-
it
when
does
we-
matter, but
well-
first we have other priorities of life.
When we look at the-
well, hold on.
when
We
we- when we-
kind of have to. Well, you can go, then I'll go. Go ahead.
When we look at the election, when we look at what Trump's appeal was, is he provided like a winning kind of ideal, and then he also provided like an actionable answers, where the Democrats I probably failed to like
What were the
reflect
actionable
that nature.
answers?
All the lies he peddled. I'm not even gonna go through like the whole bullshit
No, I'll agree
parade.
with
That
you.
I know.
Did
Yeah,
he,
yeah.
Did he peddle? Did he put forth though? Like, just give me
The wall, the because generally immigration, generally
Yeah,
Hold on.
crack down
a lot of the
immigration.
mindset.
The words
Hold
that's
on,
a
hold
lot
on,
of
hold
them
on,
being
hold on,
passed.
hold on, hold on.
Which I would
There's a
offer
real
better
simple
job
message.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Which
You
yeah,
could say it was
yeah.
you
Everyone
could say it
says
was lie, and I would agree with you. But the real simple message
Yeah.
was this from the Trump campaign was that masculinity is under attack. Men, you're being oppressed. You're under attack, and we will fix it. That
It's
was
the
their
same
message.
issue as the
That
border.
too, yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. Both of you are exactly right. It's the same issue as the border. They lied about that just like they were lying about the masculinity issue, and Democrats
The problem is
capitulated
Democrats
and
didn't
allowed
even
them
say
to
that.
define it. You're right. They let them define it.
the
Tim
Democrats
Walz
didn't
actually
talk.
finally did.
Yeah.
Tim Walz came out just this week
'Cause
saying, no,
immigration's a
like,
right
we
issue.
allowed them to define the issue on immigration. We allowed them to define the issue on DEI, on
That's not very
masculinity.
masculine, now is it? I'm joking.
Yeah, well, that's the issue. It was.
Well, you can just say it's not gendered
let's
at all,
fucking
really, right?
fix
Just
it.
saying nothing
Yeah.
is not gendered
Well,
at all.
Well,
to-
let's
to-
fix it.
The
well,
point
to
this,
like,
go ahead.
throw that question back at Wick, or sorry, not just Wick, just like the
Yeah.
mirror to that question is like, what have Republicans done for men, right? And I think this is like it's a weird.
Well, I can answer that
formulation
question.
Please, all right, go ahead. Yeah,
Well,
please.
What they've done for them is they've maintained a standard of what it is to be a man without having any disdain or disregard for the concept itself. That's what they did.
Right.
They gave them a home where they're going to be respected and at least pandered to. Now, I don't have the full understanding of different political policies to say one way or the other what is or is not effective.
He
But
asked for
socially,
policy.
I can give you that. I can't give it
Wait,
to you, but I
is there-
can
is-
give you socially and marketing wise exactly why it's stronger on the right than it is on the left, and that is
Zeus,
they
I
have
can
a
answer your question,
concept of
Zeus.
what it means to be a man. And maybe you can on the
Well,
political
the reason
side of
is,
things, but
no matter what Republican
socially, I
policies
get
there
it.
are, right? Like, it doesn't matter if they're not helping more men. It doesn't matter. What matters is the optics, and all they have to do, because we've seated on this ground, is nothing. They don't actually have to pander to men. They just have to know that most people have this concept of masculinity in, like I said, media and just like traditional society that is the default, right? And this is something that academics are working away from, progressive society is moving away from, but we're not even close to being there yet. And these concepts that Visora is talking about, which are all true, are just not widely accepted. So when we push these things in the mainstream, which we should, and we should get there eventually, this is very alienating to people who do not understand them, and we haven't done the legwork in, whether it's people in high school or wherever else you need to like societally disseminate these ideas for people to be on board. So all the Republicans have to do is say, hey, we're not changing things.
Just
We're
some
not making it
housekeeping.
weird.
Yeah, just some housekeeping.
Actually,
my internet's
all Democrats
going
need to-
in and out. Just real quick, my internet's going in and out. I really apologize for that. I don't know what's wrong. I know it is women's fault though. Okay, Prime.
Yeah,
Go
okay,
ahead.
so but yeah, so I think to combine Xerxes and Sway's point, right? Like, I think you guys are saying something that has a level of validity to it, right? That people in their minds think like, well, this is a party of men, right? Whether that makes sense or doesn't make sense, right? We can adjudicate that a little later. And then I like what you said, Soy, that they don't actually have to deliver anything, right? They can,
But they
put forth
have.
optics, right? Oh, they have. So again,
They
so
have
maybe-
they
so
have
what
delivered some
policies-
stuff to men. It's just
What
like,
policies? Sure.
well, I mean, they got rid of women's autonomy. They got rid of abortion.
Wait,
They're working
how?
to get because
That's not-
well,
they didn't get rid of abortion.
They got
though.
rid of abortion,
God.
not
Wait,
federally.
didn't they
not
overturn Roe v. Wade?
Would you
They didn't
allow
get
me
rid
to
of it.
speak? Are you gonna ask me a
Go
question and then like speak over me
Well,
the
I
moment I
technically
start
didn't ask.
speaking?
I made a statement, but go ahead.
No,
go
they
ahead.
overturned Roe v.
Technically,
Wade.
yeah.
They're working towards banning no-fault divorce. They're
Oh
speaking
no! It'll
regularly.
be hard to get a divorce. I'm sorry. I apologize. You go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, the no-fault divorce when your abusive husband is beating the fucking shit out of you, you should be
Now,
able to
case in
divorce
point,
them.
Now, case in point is that response, that immediate jump to the worst possible example of a male.
It's not the worst
is the
possible example. It's a
masculinity-
very common one
That's
that I've also
absolutely
had to
the
endure.
worst possible. That's the
Oh.
worst possible interpretation of being
The
a
worst,
young man.
I could get
And because it's
significantly
coming
worse
from
than
the
that.
Democrats, I'm sure you
This-
can,
It's a-
We
right?
need to do
It's
the
a
not all men
common
thing right
immediate
now. We need to
outcome.
do the men, not
It
all men.
regularly
But
happens.
that's
Yeah, but
exactly. But
not
that's
all
why
men.
they go for it. Exactly, they
Yes,
go for the
yeah,
not
just
all
because
men
you're-
because we
because they're
hear
dumb
the
enough
worst
that they need to
possible
hear that.
interpretation.
Well,
Now,
Xerxes,
what-
you might be
sorry,
right about that in
because
general, but it's
some
not
men-
because of
no,
no-fault
no, no.
divorce. People do not like
damaged
no-fault
enough
divorce.
that
I
they need to
refuse
hear
to
that. It's not
accept
about being
the-
dumb.
I refuse to accept the grounds that just because some men do shitty things and women get to talk about that and say, hey, maybe we should have the right to divorce our husbands with,
No,
let's
hold
say,
on.
no justifiable reason, quote
But there's two
unquote,
problems with this. There's actually
just
two
wanna
problems.
finish
because
your-
it
hold on, let's just
regularly
finish your answer.
happens. I
Okay.
refuse to accept the framing that this is A, misinterest, B, negatively polarizing to men when men commit crimes on women and women say, I would rather you not do that, or I would rather have systems built that would protect me from this.
Xerxes,
I think
can I
that's
try
a
getting a better
ridiculous
example? Because I
The
think the
men should
no-fault
be
divorce
held
one
accountable.
is not very
here's the
good.
thing.
The men should be held accountable.
As much as I would like you to, Soypel, I think that this is a perfect encapsulation socially as to why males are hyper reactive
link
to this,
something?
right? Because it isn't to say that these awful males don't exist, but the problem is, earlier in the conversation, I asked for a positive example of what masculinity is, and you didn't, you
And I
couldn't give
gave
me
you
that
that.
one. But
I
you
did.
could give me easily. You
I
could give me
did
a
give you that.
negative portrayal. Well, that was
I
only
gave
after
you
we moved
several.
forward. That was only
Literally
after
when
we
I
moved
said,
forward into the
okay,
conversation.
let me, before I
But
answer your
understand,
question,
you have to listen. You
explain
have to
my
listen.
point of
You
view,
have to listen.
because we're
Yeah, hold
talking
on.
about our
Mhm.
points of view. No, sorry, you get to cut me off regularly. I'm going to do the same to
Mhm.
you.
That's
You asked me a
masculine.
question, and I said
But
in
this
a
is the
debate
problem.
setting where
Mhm.
we are talking about our views, my personal view is this, but
Mhm.
I would offer these answers. You
Mhm.
immediately jump on the very first thing I said, ignore everything else, because
didn't.
you like to pick and choose your arguments.
I'm not.
Because
I'm
you
making a
can't
point.
actually face one.
I'm making a point, and the point that
Fragile
I'm
little
making
shit
is
with your
the
weak-ass point.
the portrayal of what men are listening to and hearing coming from the Democrats is what you are displaying.
What are they
What you
listening
are-
and hearing
what- I
coming
just
from the
told- you won't li-
Republicans?
You have to listen. It doesn't matter what they hear from the Republicans. We're talking about the Democrats right now. It doesn't matter.
No, but
So
no, it
literally,
does.
we're
When the
not playing-
Republicans
we're
are
not playing
saying
this or
that
that.
rape should be
We'll get to
legal
it.
and that
No
women
one said
should be
that.
property, then yes,
that's the
no.
problem.
What literally Andrew
Who-
Tate said
no
that this
one has
week.
said that.
Okay.
He's not a Republican. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
He's a Republican
He's barely even
figurehead.
American half the time.
We got
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
But
matter.
we
MAGA
got more
still
people.
looks up
Hold
to
on.
him.
We got more people in this debate. I want
Now-
to get more people in. Soy Pill's being very patient.
Well, hold on,
Very
but you gotta let me
good.
land the plane,
Well,
and then I'll just let it go.
You've
Please
crashed
let
so
me
You
many
land
have-
the
planes in the
plane.
past
20
3 months,
seconds.
Xerxes. I
So
don't
give me-
trust you.
let me
Land that
land-
fucking
All
plane,
right.
please.
Every
20
single
seconds.
plane
Let me
crash is
land the
Xerxes'
plane, I'm
fault.
gonna let it go. The negative portrayal of males is very, very easy to come out of the mouth of a Democrat. Very many young men keep hearing this, and they don't want to keep hearing it. The positive portrayals of males is coming from the right. Now, whether they're actually effective literally, whatever, we're just talking about optics, as Soypill is saying. So, go ahead.
Soy Pill. And
Okay,
then Prime,
so
and
I
then
completely
Master.
disagree with the no-fault divorce one because I think that's an incredibly unpopular idea. But to his point, the Harry Sisson thing you brought up is a very, good ideal of, hey, here's this democratic figurehead, and he is doing something that is traditionally masculine, which is being, having game, right? He's talking to all these beautiful women, and he's being fired for that, or he's stepping down, and everyone else in that democratic mainstream has to disown him. And young men want to be
I think
that,
that's
right?
ridiculous.
Young men see James Bond, they see Indiana Jones, they're like, oh, that's cool. He's like, he gets the woman, that's so cool. And this guy's doing it, and ostensibly is not, doing a Me Too thing where he's like, sexually assaulting anyone.
It's not even
He's
illegal. It's
maybe
just
he
wrong.
lied
He's
to
just
them.
an
That could have
asshole.
been. I don't know the full story, but the point is, they see that coming from the Democratic Party. It's like, oh, you're being a little too into women. get out of here, right? So that's the messaging they hear from the left. And you said, oh, it doesn't matter. Zur said it doesn't matter what the right is saying. And to a degree, he's right. All they have to do is not that, right? They have some positive messaging.
It's not even the majority of the left, though.
It's what's coming out of the mainstream Democratic bunches.
Aspects of the left, unfortunately.
It's the establishment Democrats.
Well, the established Democrats are unfortunately the ones with the most power right now. So.
I just because we're in a actual intellectual setting, I just wanted to add a little bit of nuance to it. But you are right in your entirety.
That's the trap you keep falling into, and I keep saying it's like a negative. It really is a positive.
I'm
but
sorry,
you're like,
but I don't think that.
Sorry, I'm talking like we're in an intellectual setting, but like that's the problem. This country is not an intellectual setting, and these people are like just so susceptible to the easiest arguments. And if the argument is, I understand, but like if it's like, hey, what do the Democrats need to do?
1.5% was the difference.
I wish to God that everyone was as smart as you, Vasora, and we just understood the nuance of, hey, like there are good and bad parts of masculinity, and we shouldn't embody those bad parts. But unfortunately, you have thousands, if not millions, of young men who look at this and they get turned off in so easily as, oh, you denounced me for masculinity, or they just hear the word toxic masculinity and they're immediately off.
So how do we get to change? Wait, I have an actual question for you, Swiftbell. How do we improve this without discussion of these topics, so like in the academic?
This is going to sound so dumb and brain dead.
Then we got Prime, then we got Nasser. Come on, we gotta.
They've been trying to do this. I'm sorry. Are you the soy pill? Now I'm landing the plane. All right, get out of the cockpit, buddy. All right, I'm here. Look, I have the aviators on. Do you have aviators on? Do you have aviators on? Get out of here. All right.
I'm right next to you. What are you talking about?
Soy pill, you are surprisingly based.
Okay, so look. It's going to sound dumb. That's because you have to make dumb appeals sometimes. Sometimes you have to play this ground. So you look at how Democrats after post-election have been trying to be like, well, maybe Hassan, maybe he's the Joe Rogan. Now, unfortunately, Hassan hates the Democrats, and he does not embody most of what mainstream Democrats are going to do. So what we need is a Hassan-type figure, or those kinds of people, you know, if you're going to pump out these weird little Twinkie, Harry Sisson, Dean, whatever they're called, right? You need them to be a little more masculine, traditionally masculine. Not in a toxic way, but, you know, they need to be like fitness influencers. They need to say, hey, look, like, this is how you treat a woman well, but here, look, I'm with a woman. Now, Dean Withers and those people, like, they have tried this, but unfortunately, and this sucks, their appearance does not emanate masculinity to most people. They look at that and they're like, that's a little Twinkie soy boy. And so it's unfortunate, but yeah, you do need to just play this game of there just needs to be more people that are like a little more traditionally masculine.
We need an Alex Jones.
Alex Jones is not traditional. He's a
we do not need an Alex Jones. As someone who's met Alex Jones, we don't need an Alex Jones.
Hold on. Prime, Nasser, go ahead.
Sure. I just want to push back on this idea that Republicans have actually delivered anything that is like pro-male, right? Like no-fault divorce. I mean, like I searched it up and it's like, well, no-fault divorce, like the repeal against that has stalled across the country. And no-fault divorce is a state issue, not a national issue. So Trump can like talk about it, and he has, right? But he can't actually do anything about it. And then even state Republican parties have like put like no effort to actually make this happen. So they haven't delivered that, right? Like, you know, restricting abortion access, like that's like a weird thing to say that's necessarily pro-male in any real sense of the term.
I don't
no, but that was her example. That was her example.
Yeah. Can I justify why I said that was pro-male? If you because you said it was a bit weird, so I'm wondering if you maybe didn't get it properly. But if you did, go on.
It's just so my point is that like there's like I think what we were saying previously, these policies are illusionary, right? And we shouldn't even give ground on that. The Republicans have somehow delivered for men in any material way. Like I don't think that's real.
The delivery is a delusion.
Yeah, no, I think we agree with you.
It's not for this generation of male. It's supposed to be for the next generation of male.
No, it's an illusion that was delivered.
Please, come on, please. So I think at the same time, though, and this is to your point, I think, Vasora, right? Your other point is that I think we can actually still have adult conversations. Now, I stand by what I was saying previously, and that like when we're talking, especially to young men, right, we need to have a very clear, understandable message toward them about like what masculinity is supposed to be. However, right, beyond that, if someone is acting badly, and I have no opinion on the system thing, right, I don't care. But like if men are actually badly, we should be able to regulate that, right? We should be able to say that, hey, that this individual within our group like is toxic, right? We shouldn't replicate what we see on the right, and just to say like, well, we don't want to be accused of being too feminine, right? By saying this guy who's being abusive or whatever the case might be, right? That we don't want to get rid of him because he's popular.
Okay.
Just before we move on,
and then we got to Nasser.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify really quickly that, like, in it, when I said that these were policies that the Republicans were delivering for men and that most were illusions, it is the illusion of returning to the traditional, like, nuclear family male system of, like, the hierarchy of, like, the man of the house is in charge and the man of the house gets to make the decisions, but also the man of the house has all this extra responsibility. It's that, like, the idea of that traditional family is what they've given to men on the right.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's actually been implemented is a whole other thing. But to be fair, like, most of what MAGA believes is a delusion anyway. So, like, it doesn't really physically have to be tangible.
Yeah, the messaging
wonder-
is there,
if I
regardless of whether or not they're delivering. I think Prime, we probably agree that they're not actually delivering.
Yeah.
I think that, like, in Nasser, I'm going to let you go after this, right? I'll let you respond to this first. But I think maybe we're all overthinking it. There is this perception, and I think it isn't entirely unwarranted, that Democrats and the left in general do not care about men, right? That we do not care about men, that we prioritize women, minorities, etc., over white, straight
Are there no
men,
men minorities?
right? Well,
I don't think
look,
Republicans
white,
care
straight
about
men.
men.
That again,
It's a
Well,
perception
come on,
thing. It's a
perception.
perception
Like,
thing.
that
talking
would be my
about this
counter
idea.
argument to that.
They-
I feel
I
like
understand-
Democrats do care about
But
men.
Republicans are at least seen as
Doing
at
actionable
least
things.
giving lip service.
Can I
this
can I
idea.
give an example, Wick?
Can I please finish my point? And then yes,
No.
I'll let you all talk. Okay. But
Hey,
this-
how about me?
yeah. Again, let me finish my goddamn point, and then yes, you can all respond to it. I promise you. But you gotta let me get it out. Okay. Please. Jeez. Okay. It's always talking over the man in the panel. All you feminine. Anyway. Sorry. Okay. But no.
Yeah.
They at least give lip service to this idea of men, you have lost your way, and we're going to help you out. You are being downtrodden upon. Whereas in a lot of cases, men are told to sit down, right? It's not your turn. And we spent this for years. For years, the left said, men, you just sit down. You need to be quiet. Women are speaking. Minorities are speaking. It's not your turn. You've had it too good for too long. And that has been. It wasn't the majority of Democrats saying this, but enough were that it became it became a thing, and people internalized it, and people believed it, and that is unfortunately how we are seen. The Democrats are seen as people who do not care about men. And not only that, they actively work against men in some cases. Now, I'm not saying that's true.
You're right.
I'm
No,
just saying
I
that's
think it is
how
true.
it's seen.
I think it
Okay,
is true. I just
wanna
think
go to-
that it's everyone.
I want to go to NASA.
The Democrats.
Been waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the greatest country. We're the greatest country. America's the greatest country. I'm gonna say it. But I think Democrats. I think what Democrats excel at is actually not making the men and women issues a versus issue, because constantly when you look at the right, it tends to be more of like a confliction of men versus women. Where
Yeah, but what do you think feminism is, then?
what do you think feminism is?
Yeah,
about hating
not
men, isn't
it? Men versus women.
I don't think
How could-
feminism and
how would you
that.
believe that?
Have you read a
Feminism
feminist
was
Feminism
literature?
never a
I think feminism.
Democrat
I want-
policy.
They never needed
Pointing
to be
through some
that.
Maya
Like,
Angelou,
literally,
right?
yeah.
The identity-
Where
the
do
identity
leftists and
politics
feminists
side.
literally live in, though? They live
Where-
on the Democratic
Mate,
left
your side, the Republicans are the identity politics
So
side.
don't give them that space, right? Because like what
Yeah, I'm
NASA
not
was
gonna
just
give
trying
them
to
that
say
space.
is actually exactly
Yeah,
right.
but
like it's
but
not
that would
that
be
much.
operating
Yeah,
on the
because
not-
you're
I
becoming
wanna
third
take
wave,
them. I wanna-
aggressive,
I
man-hating
wanna-
feminists.
I wanna
And I'm
take it
thinking,
from them.
just yeah.
NASA's correct here. That like they're not
So are
actually in
you.
contention. So you're saying feminism, right? Like that it must be like men versus women. That's not feminism. Like, that's a person who has like a feminism was a one-on-one
problem.
understanding of the situation, right? And you don't like again, like it's not feminism was never. Well, sorry, I should say never, right? But the main
It was supposed to be helping men too in the process of helping women.
like
yeah.
Why
by
is it
like
called
exact like
feminism?
maternal
But-
leave,
That's
right?
level one.
It's not like people are like, for instance, maternal leave, right?
You-
Not just
but
fighting
because
for maternal leave.
Nice.
because
They're-
you,
they're
the right
fighting for
bastardized
paternal-
feminism.
Hold on.
May I simply explain
Hold
this?
on. I'm like a few sentences, and
Go,
I'm
go,
almost
go.
done. I swear to God, right? So yeah, it's like looking at like maternity leave, right? They're not just fighting, feminists aren't fighting just for maternity leave. They're fighting for paternity leave. They're fighting for the idea that men would also want to take care of their children, right? Give them that space. These things aren't actually in contention. People want to paint them that way. That's not actually the case.
Jonah, get that newsroom Jeff Daniels fucking Aaron Sorkin dialogue out of my chat. That is worse than slurs.
Rural, because I work blue collar jobs. I know I work a blue collar job right now. There's a lot of camaraderie, but when you look at like the Democrats, it's more like a corporate setting, and there's HR, and then there's generally bureaucracy and all that stuff. So you kind of get that kind of mindset of like how how they roll the government, where everyone's kind of really equal.
Hold on, just housekeeping. I'll be reading super chats in about 10 minutes. So keep sending me your money, gang. Keep giving me all your money.
Yeah, send them all the money. Make them rich.
The more money you give, the more masculine you are, young men. Okay, the more ladies you will get. If the $10 super chat, that's one date. A $50 super chat, that's first base. Okay, $100, you go all the way. Anyway, go ahead.
Really quickly. One, the idea of why feminism is good for men is because the base concept is the idea of patriarchy means that men are responsible. No, it's not that. It's that men are responsible for all of these. Shut the fuck up for 10 seconds. I'm giving you a definition.
Shut up. He also.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah, but you're more wrong.
I'm sorry.
Everyone shut up. Let Visora finish, but then Visora will shut up.
Patriarchy. I will. The patriarchy oppresses men just as much as women because men are now put in charge of having to do all of the work outside of the house. Men have to go to work, they have to come home, they have to feed the family, they have to be able to afford this. If you can't afford food for your family, then you're a failure of a man. You have to go die in war. Like, all of this is patriarchy. Feminism just says none of this shit needs to be all on the man, and none of the house shit needs to be all on the women. We're all people. We can work this out amongst ourselves like regular people. Secondly, the other topic that you brought it to, Nasser, you're exactly right. And this is actually one of the things that I give the right props for. They have actual community. They speak to each other in person. They have the rural right-wing camaraderie comes from that sense of community, whereas America as a whole has
almost viciously nasty
hyper-individualism. Well, I mean, like, they can get that way, but the Democrats are also far too hyper-individualistic, as America is as a whole. It is a matter of not left and right here. That's a class distinction of up versus down. Ironically, it tends to be some of the poor in rural areas who actually have formed community, and it is more people need to form community as you get poorer, because community is how we've gone through hard times for like all of human history.
Visora, I want to give Visora. Can I give Visora an example though? Because I want her to understand this, because she's not doing this, and this is like an example of like how we should be doing it. So like when someone says, "Hey, I think feminism is like this man-hating, dividing ideology," and you give a very nuanced explanation right that is exactly how you have to talk to people. Although maybe less condescending. To be fair, I'm sure you wouldn't be talking to Zerus in public like that, but like, it's a debate stage. I get it. But the problem is when you go into these college settings, let's say I were to go up to a woman in a gender studies class. I've done this before, not this specifically, but said something like, men have a disproportionate loss of children in divorce cases. And they'll say, instead of, which this is true, hey, there are reasons behind that, or this is why this is happening, or hey, that's actually part of the patriarchy, and explaining it, it's just, that's not as important right now. And it's not. It's true. What they're saying is true. It's much less of a big topic, but the perception is just this immediate rejection and this pushing away from a man's problem, which is a thing that people
we need
see
to work
in the same way as
men.
White.
We need to work to reframe that.
These
issues are just as important.
Just real quick, I'm going to let Cersei go right after this, because he deserves to go right after
and
this.
I just wanted to say this is the exact same thing, and I think this is a terrible. Can I finish?
This idea that you just said, like you just said it in this conversation, that they say it's not that important. It's not as important right now, and it's not as important right now. Is one of the reasons that mindset is one of the reasons that we're struggling.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing. I am saying that.
They
like
accurately, the young men today, accurately intuit that for Democrats, not all of them, but for Democrats, they are just not as important right now.
Right. So that messaging is bad. And I wanted to give a very, I think, hitting home example. I think everyone has seen this before. When Democrats or anyone has talked about affirmative action, or and said the word white privilege, right? You say, well, why? You're a young white male and you don't understand the history of all of this stuff. And you say, why are all these people getting this advantage over me? And someone comes up to you like, you don't get it, you don't understand. They're right. Their frustration's correct. It's not ahistorical. It's based in decades of oppression. But explaining that to someone is very difficult. And instead of doing that, they just say, oh, you don't get that because you're privileged, and you just completely dismiss them. And that drives them to the right, who just have these false arguments that, hey, oh, cool, being white is awesome, come over here and we'll give you benefits. We'll have an all-white scholarship or whatever the frick like Donald Trump's trying to do.
If someone asked me to explain affirmative action to them, all I would say is that's the reason why Biden became VP under Obama. That's what affirmative action is.
But again, this
because
you're
that way
smart
it
and
also
nuanced,
shows
but Democrats aren't.
No, I know. But like doing it this way, like as an example, saying, oh yeah, if someone's like, what's DEI or what's affirmative action? You say, oh, that's the reason Biden was VP under Obama. It also adds in the fact that men do benefit from DEI and so do white people. In fact, white women were the highest recipients of DEI grants, but like still, it is, to be fair, I was also against affirmative action.
Women?
White women are the
yes,
primary
white women
recipients
were
of
the
affirmative action.
primary, yeah.
What a hilarious failure of that concept, eh?
Well,
women are traditionally disadvantaged.
But guys, like you would have to understand.
It is Xerxes' turn, so Xerxes, go ahead.
Like you,
and then
you
5
have
minutes
to understand,
chat, so yeah.
which kind of sucks, actually. I think that like if this policy ultimately ended up helping a bunch of white women out, no offense, but young men are going to be able to see that they're not getting the, and I'm not even going to say preferential treatment, they're not getting the so-called privileges of being a male that is constantly berated and bombarded at them. But then you, again, just as far as optics are concerned, you're seeing another party, or even if it isn't a party, another social sphere that is saying it's all right for you to be a male. It's a good thing you're a male. You should be a male. And here are all your different positive attributes. It makes sense that, let's just talk about custody, for example. I think it's important that Wick pointed it out, because the framing is saying that we don't care if you don't get to see your children. Well, if a man who cares about his children are being told by one political party that's not important right now, why should he support them? Why should he want to go over there and help them out if he cares about his family, which is the actual direct close people to him? It doesn't make any sense.
Wait, hold on.
Why he would even think that way?
I have an actual.
It doesn't matter what they're doing. You keep doing tit for tat. It doesn't matter. I don't even know.
But they're not doing anything either, though.
No, but you've got a negative versus a neutral. The negative is going to be worse.
I have a neutral question.
Yeah, you can ask after he's finished. Xerxes, finish your thing, and then.
So to land the plane here, and I would like her question. It's like, no matter how we cut the cookie of whether or not, or the tit for tat of what are the Republicans actually doing, I give the ghost. It doesn't matter what they're doing. What young men are seeing is a political party that does not care about them, and sometimes actively has a disdain for different qualities that are inherent to them. I think like white people or young white men, I think it makes sense for them to look at any DEI, and be like, well, hold on, I wasn't an oppressor.
Right, I give you.
Well, think about it, okay. and I'll give them this one because it's important. It's like, okay, you explain diversity to me because of the history of oppression. I live in a trailer park. What I got to do with me? That's fair for a white person or a young white man to be like, I don't have this power you're proclaiming I have. I don't have this experience. So it's like, why am I being punished for something over here? Why am I being told to eat shit over here when I had nothing to do with me? That's an important thing that needs to be asked and discussed. Who actually says we're going to help you out?
Yeah, well, Cersei, that's the issue exactly, though.
We'll get to. I got to get to super chats. I got to make a little money. This is my bread and butter. And then after that, Visora will ask her question, and we'll move on from there. Cool, good. Great. Let's get me some money. Okay, $2 from Cameraman502. Men relate shoulder to shoulder. Thank you for the $2. $5 from Joe the Mig. Equating the basic responsibilities of protecting your family and earning money to care for them with a system of oppression is a genuine psychosis. Thank you for the $5. $10 from Miles Kinslow. Democrats have not only abandoned positive masculinity, but have embraced toxic female behaviors, victim mentality, manipulation, patronization, etc. Thank you for the $10. J-Mac, thank you for the gifted 50 gifted Wick memberships. Welcome to the show. Really appreciate you. $2 from Joe the Mig. Are we pretending fourth wave feminism doesn't exist? $5 from Joe the Mig. Democrats do care about men, quote unquote, from the party that, through policy, has crippled the development of men and boys in K through 12 and higher education. $2 from Feder Methodist. I got nothing. Your panel is answer enough. Thank you for the $2. $5 from Old School. I've generally seen more women in the stat classes I teach. I generally see more men in the linear algebra calculus classes I teach. But math is masculine. $5 from 2 links. To the ones who believe in toxic masculinity. Oh, I'm just going to get through these real quick.
Sorry.
To the ones who believe in toxic masculinity. 1 challenge. Name an inherently male trait that can't be applied to women that is positive. That'll be something we can do after I get through these. £10 from Jacob Buckingham. Oh, Buckingham, very British name. America thinks masculinity is Hulk Hogan. Britain thinks it's Winston Churchill. Be more like Britain. Thank you for that £10. And then, finally, $5 from Testicle Johnson. Dems clearly have a masculinity problem. Instead of learning to change a tire or lifting weights, they play Dungeons and Dragons and hand paint Warhammer 40,000 dolls.
Ooh, Colin, you have
That's
masculine
masculine.
activity.
Okay.
What the
I have
fuck?
some,
Masculine activity.
I have some
Everyone's
real
more mad
fucking-
about that last comment
Hold
than
on.
anything else. But yeah.
They're attacking him.
Yeah.
That's what
There
that's
is-
happening.
No, hold on. Visora had a question, and I want to let her give her space to answer to ask that question.
Well,
Go
like,
ahead.
honestly, I forgot my question at this point, but I've got like several other points that came up in that time span. One being an answer to the question of name a trait. There is no inherent trait that belongs to any, like humans aren't inherently anything besides social.
Well, can I ask you a
Everything
question?
else is
Can I
socially
ask you a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you
please.
have a concept of toxic femininity? Like, could
Yes.
you lay out or dissertate? What would that look like? Just real fast.
Well, I can, like, systemic or interpersonal, because they'd be
Let's go with
different. But like,
interpersonal. Let's just go with that.
okay. Well, I mean, there's plenty of like women that also abuse their boyfriends and then like pretend that they're the ones being abused. That happens, not often, and like enough that it is
So they call it like
overtaking the
Darvo?
other.
What they call
My,
it?
Wait,
my
it's
not
anecdotal
the-
version of that.
I have a good one
But
for Zoe.
My
that
anecdotal
exists.
version of
That
what-
exists. There's also the
Can I-
type
can I-
of person. Hold on, because I just want one more, because this one's really important. This one
go ahead.
pisses me
I wanna
off that
talk
when
about
people
women.
do it. It's when it's like I've seen a lot of women do this when they do something as a mistake in general, just like an accident. I've seen a lot of women go, "Oh well, I'm just a girl," and that
They
pisses me
infantilize
off.
themselves.
Yeah, the
So then,
infantilization.
could you define
Incompetence.
toxic masculinity? Just real fast.
It's when you do something that has a negative effect on the people around you or yourself in trying to embody traditionally masculine ideals. In the same way, exactly
I mean,
what she
that's
just
the
said for
smart answer.
femininity was perfect. It was, hey, sometimes people see femininity as being servile or like, a little more like weak or like, hey, subservient. And in doing so, like diminish themselves and like, oh, I'm just a dumb woman, right? In the same way, the example I was going to give is, woman
I have
embody
one
this
final
effeminate,
question.
real quick before,
I have
No,
women
no,
embody
I'm
this
gonna
effeminate
give-
thing
I
of
still have
trying
an
to
answer.
Hold on. I'm going to give
But my
Soy Pill
final-
space to denigrate women. Soy Pill, go ahead.
Right, so like women,
My final question
traditionally
puts it all
try to
together, but go ahead.
crash that plane, man. Okay, so women traditionally try to like make themselves look better with makeup or dresses, and that's like a feminine trait. There's nothing wrong with that inherently, but a toxic feminine trait would be, hey, in order to make myself look better, I'm going to demean, degrade, or otherwise do something mean to some other woman so that I look good in comparison. This is toxic femininity, right? So it's not masculinity is bad,
I have an
femininity
add-in.
is bad.
I have an add-in because it's not just making other people's lives more miserable, it's also making your own lives miserable. I covered
it
this
as
on
well,
my
yeah,
stream
I
last
agree.
week of watching Jesse Waters talking about how he has 3 rules for men.
No
One
soup.
being no soup in public, no crossing your legs, and no drinking out of a straw, to which someone was like, oh, but he was drinking a milkshake, to which Jesse Waters replies, well, you shouldn't be drinking milkshakes.
Yeah, that's
Milkshakes
gay.
are
Yeah,
for
the
kids.
the
That
modern
is
standards. Of,
Unironically,
like,
this is both gender ideology
men
and
culture.
mental illness. That's toxic masculinity. Honestly, I would go further and say the push to return to family values is toxic gender ideology. Period. Like, it's not
on.
just one or
No.
the other. No. Not the
I wouldn't
idea
even agree
of
with
family
that,
values.
and I'm
I
gay.
mean
Let her explain.
I mean the media push for this, not the idea of like traditional family values. Those aren't toxic in and of themselves. It's the coordinated campaign of this is the right way to be, the Christian traditional family values
Oh,
that
the
need to be
nuclear.
implemented. Yeah, like the current
the
administration's
toxic nuclear.
Well, see, even
Yeah,
that,
that's
Visora,
the
if you say that,
toxicity.
you've just
I
alienated so
disagree
many
with this
people who have
entirely.
totally
Hold on.
healthy
I don't
nuclear
care about
families.
alienating the right, to be honest.
Well,
like, I'm
okay,
never
well then
trying
let's
to
keep
message
fucking
to MAGA.
losing, I guess.
No,
Like,
hold on.
that's the whole point
No,
of this
because-
debate.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
84 million Americans didn't vote. More than half the country did not vote.
Yeah, and these people who aren't as clued in as you and aren't as smart as you hear that, and they're like, "What? You don't like a nuclear family?" Because they don't understand what you're saying. So you can't come out with that. That messaging is bad, unfortunately. Even though you're right, it's bad messaging.
No, she's not. Hold on.
Do you think that I would be messaging it like this if I was trying to do propaganda?
If I was Ben Shapiro, I would clip what you just said and blast it everywhere.
This is important.
Please do.
I won't, because I'm not a
Go
fucking dipshit
Oh my
right
god,
winger,
you guys just keep talking, and is this
We
on?
have so much to
Can
say.
you hear me? Hello, is this on? Okay. It's not just
I
bad
think you're
messaging.
muted, Wick.
That's funny. The idea that you were telling people that the idea of having family values is bad, or at least
toxic.
is toxic.
See, right there, Wick totally misunderstood your point.
If I may finish,
This is shadowboxing, but okay.
I'm not shadowboxing, because what you said in your comment was it creates this toxic normativity that this is how people should be. And
That's not what I
here's the
said.
problem, is that most people, especially young men, they want a family.
Wick, you're proving my point.
want
That's
to
not what I said.
Vasora, do you see?
Yeah,
it?
but
He
that
totally got it wrong,
But
because you didn't explain it right.
toxic. Hold on. Toxic, just as its connotation, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a bad thing.
Thank you. All right. So, what are you implying when you say that sentence? What do people hear?
Well, do you know
Socially,
what?
what do
Wait,
they hear?
Xerxes, do you know what an adjective
I
is? Xerxes?
literally
I
said
know exactly what
that the
adjective is. Yeah,
traditional
it's a descriptive
family
word.
values in and of themselves are not negative. It's
What else
the
did you
Yeah,
say?
but you
campaign
need to
push
you need
for
to
them.
make it dumber.
Yeah, yes.
Sorry.
You need to make it stupider. Be stupider. Say it to me like I'm
okay,
5
okay.
right now. Say it like
Let
I'm
me-
5.
Let me bring this down to the MAGA level. Family
It's
good,
positive.
Republican bad.
Oh,
Andrew
all right,
Tate
all
bad,
right, all
Donald
right.
But you
Trump
also
bad,
have to-
family
but you-
good.
Wait a minute, Viz, but you also have to olive branch, because if you keep harping on just like the one aspect of it, and you alienate
Yeah,
so
you
many
take
people,
Republican as well.
so you just gotta work. You gotta work on olive branching your messaging,
Look,
and I think that's what Democrats really need to do. They need to work on messaging.
Hold on.
Olive
Xerxes-
branches to the
hold on.
right in a way.
Xerxes had one more question. He said
unfortunately.
he had one more question that he says will
I
tie it
did.
all together, and I'm
promise he
give him
has
the
more.
space to do it. So go ahead. You had one more question.
So the
Tie it
one final
together.
question, the title together, is why is it that there's more of a stronger focus on toxic masculinity than toxic femininity?
Wait,
Why is it that we
no one answered. Why do you
critically
think?
focus
Men
on
do-
this?
Why do you
When
think
women
Xerxes?
are toxic, they make a man cry. When men get toxic and mad about their masculinity, they shoot up a building.
Bingo.
When's the last time? Okay,
And
name me a
that's
female
what
mass
men
shooter.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
Don't take the
Okay,
bait.
great. So what? It's true.
It doesn't matter if it's
literally
true. He doesn't
It's
get
not
it.
my
He doesn't get
problem.
it. This is what I'm
That's
talking about.
extreme.
No. Hold on.
It's not
Olive
extreme. It
branching.
happens
Hold on,
literally every
Prime. We'll
day.
give it prime.
Didn't even have to
Oh,
try.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
hold
sorry.
on.
I
But-
can't point out the fact that men keep
Hold
shooting
on.
up buildings
Please.
when
Okay,
women don't.
No,
Name me a woman mass shooter. Find me one.
Please.
Sure, there was a woman
Yeah,
who
we-
shot up a school
Yeah,
the
we
other
do
day,
have
like a
female
couple
shooters,
months
they're
ago.
very
There's
rare.
two actually,
But, hold
two
on.
recently.
Yeah,
Doesn't
but they're quite
matter.
rare.
Yeah, but men are better at it.
They are rare, yes. But go ahead.
But anyway, but like to her point, right? Like it's not simply like mass shooter, right? Like when men grow up in a world that like tells them that they have to deny their emotions, right? They can't actually cry, they can't show themselves, they can't share themselves with their partner. When that is like the form of masculinity that's pushed, right? Then these emotions get bottled up, and then they act out in horrible ways. So, like, yeah, of course, mass shooter, but like in a more tangible sense, domestic violence is a real thing. Right, we can understand
half
this.
the time
That's
I'm
why
saying
we
you get
just
me
hold those people
dumber.
accountable.
That's
not
Y'all are
everyone.
telling me to get it dumber.
Vizora,
I know.
Let Prime
Why?
finish.
No,
Let
no.
Prime
Let
finish.
me
No,
finish
you're right.
helping you.
No. I'm
Let me
curious,
stop
guys. Why
talking.
can you get
Stop
to go
talking.
into nuance? Why do you get to do nuance and
God.
I have to
You
dumb it
won't.
down?
You won't go into nuance.
Prime
He literally
lives matter.
is. He is
Prime lives
agreeing with
matter.
me. He
Prime
is
lives
correct.
matter, okay?
He's saying the nuance part that I would have said if y'all didn't keep saying that I need to dumb it down. I'm agreeing with you.
I don't-
Prime.
I
I
don't
just
think
don't
you're-
understand
wait,
why
hold
you
on. I
get to
think you're
say
proving
it.
It doesn't matter that you're
I
both
think
correct.
you're
The point is
proving-
Xerxes isn't going to get it.
because of my black privilege. So
Wait, right there.
Like,
Wait, Prime. That's a perfect
so, like,
example.
I think
If Xerxes
Prime
asked
is
you
proving
why
this
does
one
what is
too.
why doesn't black privilege
wrap it up.
exist?
Just wrap it up very quickly. Yeah, just
It does.
very quickly. That like So we have like domestic violence. We have like I don't know, these general attitudes towards women, I think actually also are part of it, right? Like this general disdain for women, to think that women are like conniving, controlling. I think these are
Where would that come from?
signs that we're cultivating a masculinity that's not actually in harmony with the things around it, right? So that's not femininity. That it's in opposition. It doesn't have to be in opposition. So when we talk about like the consequences of toxic masculinity versus femininity, right? Usually, like, yeah, like the worst of it is life and death, right? And the rest of it is like literally making the lives of the women around, like subjugating the women around them. Like, so like it tends to be from what I see, and you can maybe give me examples where it's more the other way.
I can give you
right.
I can.
Okay, please. So like you can maybe give me examples more the other way, but it seems to be that on whole that the consequences are disastrous for toxic masculinity. In a way, it's not the other way around.
Well, here's the thing. Let's give you an example, right? Let's talk about true cuckoldry, and that is to say, when a young lady is no, this is important. This is real people's lives. You can't laugh. Seriously, because no, think about it. If hold on,
let him speak.
Hold on.
That's
why I said true
cuckoldry. Go ahead.
cuckoldry. I said true cuckoldry.
The cuckoldry
which is to say,
extends beyond
I'll explain.
the normal false cuckoldry to the
exactly.
Let him talk.
And let me explain. Let me explain.
I want to hear.
It's a very important concept, because what an actual cuckolding situation is when an organism, in this case, we're going to talk about, women, gets impregnated by a different person, and then they have their husband or their boyfriend raise a child that is not theirs. This is a serious issue that can affect the child medically, as in they can't even get the correct blood transfusion from their father because it's not their real father. This is an issue that affects young men directly because they're investing resources in children that aren't theirs. This affects them in custody. So when we look at this and we talk about toxic femininity, and we talk about the deception of lying and having someone invest resources in a child that's not theirs for years, this may not be life or death, but this is years of emotional trauma that you're giving to a child and to a father, would-be father, to said child. Now, the point of me bringing this up is because, hold on, you asked for an example. Hold on. You asked for an example, and I'm giving you an example.
The plane is left orbit. The plane is off into Jupiter.
And this is the problem. But this is the problem. You disregard the lifetime. Even if it is a minority, you are quick to disregard the life that a person and a child would be living through that experience.
I'm not disregarding. Okay, so that sounds bad, and I can imagine that'd be awful.
You can't say, see, you're still disregarding it.
Stop trying to read my emotions. I'm just trying to respond to you. So my simple question to you is, right, like, okay, acknowledging your cuckoldry, right, there's some things that are on your mind, acknowledging that, right, and then stacking that up against domestic violence, against not just domestic violence, but the general sexual violence directed towards women. In your opinion, I'm asking you, are these two things equal? Is that how you see it in your mind?
No, not necessarily equal. I think that's foolish to look at every single question as whether it's equal or not. The question is, why do we disregard this behavior so quickly? And the reason why I'm looking at this is because we're not taking the emotional damage that happens to males very seriously, but there's another side that is. And that's the right-leaning side that's taking it seriously.
Zeus, what would you say if Donald Trump came on the campaign stage and he talked about one person... I want to ask
a question to Xerxes' point.
If you're going to start the Zeus machine, the Overton window is going to be thrown off of the fucking cliff.
I know, but he made a claim, and I want to back it up.
Let's give it to Zoe. Hasn't gone in a while. Let's give it to Zoe first, then Visora. That's the order we're going to go.
This all spawned off of this very silly false dichotomy that yes, obviously there are men's problems that need to be addressed, and in rejecting those, this is what I said at the beginning. If your messaging is that's not important right now, even if that's true, and it is true to a degree, it's not. It's going to alienate a whole shitload of people. The problem is that toxic. One second, let me finish. The toxic masculinity and toxic femininity are both existing things. They're not the same thing. In the same way, white privilege and black privilege probably both exist, and they're not the same thing, right? Like the problem is the framing of this as, oh well, why are we talking about this and not this? Because a bunch of people have this ahistorical take on it, and unfortunately, if you explain it to them like this, if I was talking to a layman, they would be completely lost. They'd be like, "What are you talking about? Like, I'm a white guy in a trailer park. What the fuck do you mean I have white privilege?" So you can't come at it like that. You can't come at it as you have this positive and somehow like explain this in a systemic sense, because right now everyone's trying to explain to you the difference between toxic, masculinity and femininity, and it's not working because unfortunately you have a very narrow scope of these things. We need to talk about these dumber. I'm sorry.
Well, ironically, no.
Yeah.
The problem isn't that it's not working. The problem is that.
Pass. Before you answer Vasora,
Okay, go ahead.
answer them both. When
What
Vasora
has
gives
the
your
Republican Party functionally done to show men that they care about them?
I'll give
They
you
don't have to do anything.
nothing. It doesn't change the core of my argument. You do understand that, right?
I do, but
Okay, thank you.
You're not
As long as you
getting my
understand that.
argument. Is that the entire delusion here is that the Democrats hate men, and it's an entire delusion manufactured.
Right, but how do you stop that?
Because when I
specifically the
just
right.
gave you an example of how toxic femininity, lies and deception can destroy the life
Yeah.
of a man and a
Yeah.
child, you disregarded it offhand.
No, I went
In fact,
literally
you played,
not
even
at
Prime,
all.
Prime
No, I
played
was letting
tit
you
for
disregard
tat. He said it's
hold the
domestic
fuck up.
violence.
You're saying
the same
I
as-
disregarded
Yeah,
this
what
shit.
difference
That's a
does it
lie.
make?
saying Prime
You're lying.
did.
There's
He said
so
Prime
many-
did. Hold on, Vasora.
He was
he's
talking
saying
to
Prime
me
did.
first.
I know,
he was
but
talking
I
to me. He said
I
you.
included you
But
guys
then,
together,
Let
so
me
it's my
take that
bad,
a step further. Let me take that a step further. That's real, okay? But how often is that happening versus
What
how
difference does it make?
often it makes a difference in scale?
How?
Because numbers of people
Okay.
suffering from
Mhm.
like, are you retarded, mate? Can you not understand scale of numbers?
Okay. If
Population
one
on.
person was cuckolded, we say that's one relative to 1 million people, right?
Sure.
The problem is that's still a human
The
being
million
that has
cuckold
lived
Yeah.
a
What
life.
is this?
Now what is this? What I'm saying is when we
literally,
bring
you
up these
people
male
cuck
issues,
yourselves.
you say literally, what is this? When we bring up male issues, again in real
Let me get
time,
the
I'm showing
kink
you
stuff
guys.
out of this
We're
topic.
playing
I don't
tit for
care about
tat.
this kink
We're
bullshit.
playing
I
tit
don't
for
care
tat,
about the kink
and you're
bullshit.
disregarding it.
You want to know how the
But
Democrats
it's
are
not
going
a
to win?
kink. This is,
By
listen,
disregarding
look in the
idiots like
mirror.
this one.
Look
No,
in
fuck
the
you.
mirror.
Disregarding
Stop,
Xerxes is
stop,
how
stop.
Democrats win. The argument here is Democrats win through substance. Substance. Unions, jobs, climate. That's what
I
people
really
care
don't-
about.
On the core issue, I feel like Democrats would handle this issue just the same way Republicans would handle this issue. Generally, by letting the person that wants to take care of the child take care of the child. A lot of when
Legally,
we're
that's
doing
not
the
how it
single
works.
father, it depends on how the court works. Generally, right?
My dad and my mom
And
got
then what-
divorced and my
works.
dad
Yeah.
got custody.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sure.
it
I
depends
mean-
on how much
Oh,
that
no.
father wants to interact with that child and what
No, you
the
did the
stepfather
meme.
wants to do to interact with that child. I mean, sometimes it works out. Sometimes, I mean, the black community has a father problem. Like we're not gonna acknowledge that at all.
Well, actually, it doesn't.
I don't.
but
Yeah, I don't think it
Well,
does.
That does beyond the
It
scope
doesn't.
of today's.
It's a
Maybe we should
stereotype.
ask why.
It is
Yeah.
there.
Maybe we can ask why.
Oh,
That's
the
the
why
issue.
is the men women are choosing. Is that what you want to hear? Is that the one?
No,
Are you ready
that's
for that
not why.
conversation? Then
I don't
already-
think.
No, that's
I don't. What are? Let me
You're not ready for
explain
that
that.
conversation.
Explain
Yeah,
it.
Explain
Please.
what? The
The
caliber
men-
of individuals that young ladies are choosing to reproduce with.
that
Explain the issue that we're not
That's why-
focusing
that's
on.
Can we
why
not?
there's
men
Can
that
we
are
stop
bearing
taking the
children.
Xerxes bait? I don't want to have the
Oh,
freaking.
are we taking? Are you incel pill, or is that what you're telling me?
Hold
Are you
on.
Yes,
secretly
yes,
incel
yes.
pill?
Stop
Let me
talking about it. It's so far out of the scope of what we're talking about.
Track us. Let me try to re-rail us. Right. Let me try to kind of direct the conversation just a smidge.
Every time.
Okay. Right. So Vasora, you've made it clear that you think that by focusing on substance such as unions, such as the economy, such as jobs, this will naturally bring
Healthcare.
men healthcare.
yeah, I think all of it together will bring men over.
back. However, has that not been what the Democrats have been focusing on?
No,
Thank you.
not at all.
No.
How is it not? What have they been
have
focusing on then, Dean?
How have they done? Like, what
Yeah,
were they?
in what way have they been
were
doing
they focusing
populist
on?
like policies in the last election?
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders, for example,
Bernie Sanders is not
but he's
running
on
right
the
now.
Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat.
He's not our
Okay, but he
president.
caucuses with the Democrats.
Yeah, but
I mean, he's the only. You know what? AOC
but the Democratic
and
Party,
Bernie
the
Sanders are the
Democratic
only
Party-
Democrats
AOC,
that
yeah, AOC 's a
exist right
Democrat.
now to me.
Yeah,
As far as everyone else,
but
there is no Democratic Party except those
unfortunately-
two people.
Yeah,
we take this back? Wait,
AOC
let's
and,
take this
and
back.
Bernie Sanders don't actually represent the mainstream of the Democratic Party. I wish they
No.
did, and then we can
Yeah.
make that argument.
There is no
They don't.
Democratic Party. Those are the
Yeah.
only two Democrats that
Exactly.
exist right now because they're the only ones that are doing anything actionable. Literally,
Look,
the
Chris
Democrats
Murphy's
have
all right.
moved to let them do it
Yeah.
policies.
The
There is no
it's
Democratic
uniparty
Party
shit.
to me.
It's uniparty shit.
Yeah.
It's just uniparty shit. There's AOC.
But
there's
that's another
Bernie.
issue.
Yeah, that is a whole other issue.
The other issue.
But let's take this back to pre-election for a second, just so we can have like a clear basis of like people that we're talking about, right? Kamala Harris's campaign did not do any kind of populist rhetoric, did not do any kind of identity politics either, didn't mention
Well, it did. It
anything
only
like
talked
that.
about reinforcing the protection of abortion, which I don't see why males would
Okay,
be.
yes,
would be
that was
fond
the
of that.
only identity politics, which came from the immediate revocation of Roe v. Wade, which was very popular, by the way.
very
But they didn't do
popular.
anything else. They didn't do any other
But why
type
would
of
that
identity
appeal to
politics.
young men?
We weren't
though?
talking about.
Abortion is an identity.
Well, think
politics.
about it.
Can we, like,
Well,
push
why-
back?
why
I think-
wouldn't it
I think
appeal to
people-
men?
Hold on.
Why would a young
Why
man
wouldn't
that
it?
wants
Wait,
a family?
hold on.
I'll
You
tell
got-
you.
you're
I'll
all-
tell
you're
you.
all trying to
Let me
talk-
answer your question. Why wouldn't they? If abortion rights also fall into miscarriages, why would you want, let's say,
Except it
your
wouldn't. A
wife
miscarriage isn't
who
an
is
abortion.
let's say your wife is pregnant and she has a life-threatening pregnancy, like they need to abort the baby or your wife's gonna die. That affects you, does it not?
Yeah, but
I can barely do this, guys. These people fall for every fucking Zerst bait. They're squabbling over all this random petty bullshit. There's like a one point here that we need to be talking about, which is why do people not want to go to the Democratic Party for masculine stuff? Why do they not view them as masculine? And we're just getting all this dumb, retarded ass fucking, oh, well, what about how abortion's identity? Like, they fall for every single bait trap. And that's why Zerst, I love him as a human being because he's funny, and I like his dumb hobbies because they're the same dumb hobbies as mine. But God, every time he's on a panel, it's always the Zerst versus everyone panel because he says some super out of pocket, super like far out of the Overton window bullshit, and that's the whole conversation. We can't have talk about anything else. So holy shit, I want to crash out. Anyway, I'm having fun. I hope you guys are.
Got overturned by Donald Trump. The courts were
no,
fine.
it didn't.
It passed the courts.
He
No,
could
it
have.
didn't.
He could. Honestly, Biden
could've
could have did
kept
an
it,
executive order and generally made it
Well,
more forceful,
could've-
but he
This is
chose
another
not
thing.
to because he knew he'd be stuck in
Initially,
like court
the way
litigation.
Initially, Biden tried to forgive
Yeah.
student loan debt, was struck down by the
Yeah.
Supreme Court, but then he went back, he tailored it to a more narrow focus that applied more narrowly, and he was able to get it through.
It's a federal
That
work
is
risk.
what happened.
But
when it-
aside from that,
but that's the
there
thing,
was
yeah.
the child tax credit as
But now it's gone, so it doesn't matter.
as this one. Well, I mean, we were talking about what Democrats did. Democrats they don't exist anymore. There's no Democrats like policy. So we
There's
have
the housing
to talk
policy.
in the
That
past.
was kind of populist. Of course, they barely
housing-
talked about it, but
Yeah, like they didn't go anywhere near far enough on the substance because they're liberals and they don't believe in going that far on the substance. The Democratic Party that existed, the establishment, they didn't want power. They just want to critique power.
You know what's funny is that Trump wasn't the first influencer president. It was Obama that was the first influencer president. He greatly used Twitter to his advantage, and he greatly used social media. And somehow along the lines, the Democrats had never grew with that for some reason. They kind of sat on their laurels and kind of ignored things and thought the status quo would be enough. And unfortunately, that isn't the case. We are now in clout culture, which is generally hyper. I saw a video of Xerxes, the hyper agency one, and that's a big deal. I think a lot of a lot of the red pill speaks to men. Eventually, they will grow out of that because red pill is one step from being gay, in my opinion. And
How does that make sense?
Well, because
One step
literally
from being a
men being
homosexual?
This isn't a red pill debate. We're
Men
not
being
doing the red
around
pill
other
shit
men.
today.
Well, wait, Wick,
Bro,
it's actually incredibly
boys will be
relevant, though.
boys.
I'm happy someone finally brought this back to the substance of the debate, which is why is red pill growing so much right now? And it's not because the right wing is so good, or this is like this hyper interesting
because it
factual
speaks to the pain
ideology.
young men
It's
feel.
because the Democrats don't address these very niche things
Yeah,
about
but then
men
they get
coming of
fucked,
age.
and then they realize
It doesn't
that they don't
matter.
need to be red
I
pill
think the red
anymore.
pill is dog shit. I think all of these right wing things are dog shit. But the point is, the choices between nothing and negative on the Democratic side, especially on the dismiss men's issues, all the way to, hey, I'm totally listening to you, and then here's this dipshit ideology. But unfortunately, that's the only route they can get. So that's why you have all these people following an Andrew Tate, a Sneeko, and all these things. And the problem is the Democrats currently do not have an answer to that because, like I said, they have the Visora message, which again is too smart. Unfortunately, it's, hey, these things are not nearly that important right now. We're talking about the dominance of men in the culture.
See,
They're
but
not
this is the
important.
problem.
Let me finish.
It is
let me finish. Let me finish. I'm not saying
it's only the red pill
Zers-
leaning towards the
Zers-
politics,
Zers-
not the
okay.
other way around. The politics aren't leaning towards the red pill.
It unfortunately is, if you look at the growing
even if
movement.
it
And
isn't-
Zers, if Donald Trump went up and said, hey, there's this man in Mississippi and he wants to turn into a walrus, and I think we should donate 10 trillion of the fucking
Red pill will
budget to
eventually
making
die.
this guy turn into a fucking walrus,
And become something
would you say, if I said, hey, that's not really important right now, would you, well, he's a man and he deserves empathy. What do you mean? It's his issue. He cares. It's about curtailing voters. And unfortunately, men are a big voting bloc, and we do need to appeal to them.
It's not the same thing to talking about custody rights, which is a legitimate issue.
Custody rights is a legitimate issue. It is a very small issue.
It's not important right now.
Hold on,
Most-
stop.
most
I'll
people
give you a
work
legitimate
custody rights
issue that I
evenly.
think the
It's-
right has been
yeah.
better on than the left when it comes to men. Title IX, protections for men who are accused of sexual assault in college campuses, right? One of the things that Biden did that I was against was he lifted the requirement of the what was the standard of proving your case, and he lowered that to make it so that men or anyone really accused of sexually assault on campus was giving less access to due process, right? Much less.
Donald Trump did this for high schools, middle schools, and elementary schools. Like literally did this
However,
year.
Trump reversed that for Title IX on college campuses, right? Where he reinstated
How is
the
that
standard
bad for men?
that provided. Hold on. He reinstated the standards of proof, the burdens of proof that were put on the accusers in college campuses. One of the things that happened a lot during like the Me Too era and before even was that men would get accused on college and they would have no chance to defend themselves, and they would get kicked out. And it would later find out, right? What was that? I forget her name, but recently you remember the Duke case in colleges? Like
Yeah.
the Duke.
Yeah.
That was, the lady came out and says, I just made that up. Like 20 years later. She not 20 years later, but she recently came out, I just made it up. But those people, those men got shafted, right? They got kicked out of their college. It was terrible.
But this is a perfect example, Wick, right? Like, first, I'm going to start off, and this is my triggers. Please don't interrupt me. I promise I'm going to elaborate on this. This is a very small issue of men being accused of rape. However, a very important one, right? You don't want to be falsely accused of rape and get punished for that. And so, if you message, hey guys, we're caring about this, we don't want you to go to jail for something that is unjust, suddenly you've now just won over the entire swath of men, whereas the Democrats say, rightly, but in a bad way, what is this, like, 10 people per college or less every 4 years?
No.
It doesn't matter if that's the case. What matters is they hear that.
Soy pill. Everyone shut up right now. Soy pill. You're making the same argument that the people who are complaining, like I've complained, like, hey, they're deporting immigrants right now with no due process. And it's just a few of them. It doesn't matter.
It's also literally the same argument.
There's a very different.
Right.
No, it's not the
Wick,
exact same.
Wick,
Wait, no,
Wick,
I have to
no,
counter Wick.
you're
No,
right.
I want to yell at
It's
Wick
the
right
same
now.
argument on top of that of like trans people in sports, and everyone's like, well, there's like 4 trans people in the country that play sports. True. Okay, that's not in and of itself huge, but the issue isn't them actually playing sports. It's capitulating to the right-wing narrative even a little bit. No. Don't capitulate even a tiny bit, because they're wrong and they're stupid. Yes, I'm too smart. They're too dumb to understand it. You have to up their level of intelligence.
Wait, no, that's not what that was not my counter to Wick. It's understandable that it's like, hey, there's a big difference between violating someone's rights and getting rid of a due process and getting someone kicked out. This is not good. I'm not saying we shouldn't address this. I'm saying that the framing of this right now is immediately what I said, and you got mad. This is just proving my point in real time, because I would not be saying this on a much larger public platform if I was a politician. I wouldn't say, hey, but it's only 10. Who gives a shit? This is a very important thing. But when Democrats do that, what happens is what you did. Is you say, what the fuck? This is a big deal. What do you mean? And it's a big deal to the people it affects. And morally, it doesn't matter how many people it affects. It matters morally, how am I addressing this injustice? So you have to talk about it, and you have.
I think this has affected more people than you understand, right? Because it's
Wick,
not.
I am agreeing with you. The reason I started off this sentence with "this is going to make some people mad" is because I said the truth, which is this doesn't affect a lot of people. And the reason I said that was to illustrate that in saying something that is true, you're going to piss a lot of people off and alienate them away from your party and your messaging. And that's why you can't just say things that are true. You have to have better messaging on it.
It's not true. It's not true. The fact that this doesn't affect a lot of people.
Wick, do you
is
think it affects
simply
more
not
than
true.
0.5% of the
It
population?
affects every single man.
Do you think it affects more than 0.5% of the population?
Whether or
though.
not
It's
they
still
are
a person.
accused or
I
not.
know. That's what I'm saying.
I think Wick is getting at like the media like presence. of it,
That's
where
my
generally
point.
if
My
this-
point is
Oh
that
my
it
God,
can
you
affect
guys aren't
any male,
listening.
and that's why males care about this. They see an injustice, they don't like it, and you need to talk about this and address it. The reason I said it's not a big deal is to illustrate that in saying something that is technically true, it is not a big deal in terms of quantity. People will get mad at that, and you can't use that as your messaging. That was my point. That's why you're crashing out on me for saying it. But
I'm not
I mean, you just keep proving my
crashing
point in real
out.
time. Every time we say something true that's bad messaging, you get mad
But it's
about
not
it.
true.
How many people does it
It's
affect,
not
Wick?
true.
How many people
It's
does it
not
affect,
true.
Wick?
Because
How
what
many
you are
people does it
saying,
affect,
and
Wick?
if you allow me to finish uninterrupted, I can explain to you why you're wrong, okay? So what you are saying, or what you're trying to put forth, is that because only a few people actually have to go through the processes that are laid out in Title IX, that it doesn't actually affect the other people. And I reject that premise. I think that the premise is that every man who is in this culture, in this society that is going through these rules, it absolutely weighs on their mind. It worries them, it affects them, it changes their behavior, and it changes how they view not only the system, right, that they're in, but the people who are advocating for the different points of the system, and each other, and women as well. It becomes
Can
an
we take that a step
adversarial
further?
thing.
Okay, yeah, you just
Can we take
agree
that a
with my
step
point.
further?
Thank you.
Further. Go ahead, please.
No, because like you're right, exactly right about this, but this affects not only like exactly not just men, not just women, but everybody. But take this and grow the problem now with how many people in America are afraid of just police action for speaking out for not liking something, because now like you go to a protest at
Yeah,
a
that
Republican
is,
town
yes.
hall, yeah, and you get kicked out. They'll drag the woman off out of her chair and they'll take her outside, but they'll do it to the men too. It doesn't matter. Right now, the bigger issue isn't who is more oppressed. We are all oppressed now, guys. We live
Yeah,
in
it shouldn't
fascism.
be a versus issue. It should
Yeah,
never be a versus
now
issue.
we're talking about who's first in line for the camps right now, and I would rather talk about, I don't know, how to get out of this issue, how to talk about like real issues that affect everybody and also men. For example, if you're talking about masculinity, right? How masculine of a man are you going to feel like if your 14-year-old kid in Florida has to work the night shift because you can't afford food, and they lowered the working age so that 14-year-olds can work overnight now because all the illegal immigrants got deported, and now we need to fill those jobs. Do you feel like a manly father for your 14-year-old having to work overnight and not go to school the next day? Because
Some
if
people
I was a
actually might.
father, yeah, well, those are
Just
shitty
depends.
fathers.
Some rural.
I
Dude, they be
actually, I
shitty
worked when I
mothers.
was
Hollywood would
14.
say,
No.
Yeah.
I know working when you're 14
build
is not
character.
the issue.
Give it to.
That's
give it
fine.
to-
I worked
yeah.
when I was 14. I'm saying when your kid is forced to, like, you can't afford food for your family because otherwise, unless your kid.
I know you guys are biased. Am I really being that obtuse, or are they just not listening to anything I'm saying?
Unreasonable for Florida. For many Floridians, millions of people
Let's
there.
give it to Xerxes for a minute, and then I want to give it to Prime, and we'll go on for there. I have a couple more super chats I want to get to too, but
I
Xerxes
know,
first.
all I was saying was that, like, if we're talking about the perception of like masculinity, and to Prime's extremely earlier point, we still haven't really truly defined it. Some people might honestly be like, this is just what men do. We work hard, we make sacrifices, we do what we gotta do to make sure our family gets taken care of. That 14-year-old is just learning that lesson a lot younger. I mean, if we're talking about perception, some people they will just accept that's just how
I would call
life is
that
for young
toxic
men.
masculinity. That's what I would call toxic masculinity.
Yeah, I understand it. I think I understand what is trying to be articulated with toxic masculinity, but I think that the fact that we regard it as if it is a code of conduct in and of itself is kind of a misunderstanding of like what we should even refer to masculine traits. Like the word itself really means things that are primarily found in males, right? Masculinity is more reflection of what is, not what ought. But we use these terms and these concepts as a sort of moral code, or like some sort of like badge of honor we put on to bequeath the title of man to someone. I think that there's a lot of things wrong with that. The fact remains we do it, and so we operate in that framework.
Right.
But in that way, I think when it comes to, again, toxic masculinity, there is a lot more nuance to the concept that's not given to, or a lot more nuance given to the idea of, like, just for example, working hard as a man. Like, you say that that's toxic masculinity, but another person is going to view that as a positivity. Like, I love my family,
Contextually.
so I'm willing to work hard for them. Right?
You're actually right.
There is
And
that
actually,
nuance in that concept, and I think that a lot of people, they don't hear that nuance when they hear toxic masculinity.
you're right. I've had this discussion with one of my chatters on stream, in that I said that the idea of you have to work for your family, like you are the one that has to provide, your wife stays at home, takes care of the kids. This is as much of an oppressive state on you as it would be on your wife, not even accounting for like whether the hypothetical wife wanted to be a stay-at-home mom or not. It is oppressive to you as the man of the house in this nuclear family setting.
But you see how there's a
when-
lack of nuance
stop,
there, though.
real
You
quick.
say it's
No.
oppressive.
Well, I am getting to the nuance, like why
get
it's
to the nuance,
oppressive
get
is
to
the
the
nuance. It is oppressive because you are now expected as the sole bread earner of the house to provide, and if you fail, not whether you do or not, that pressure, that guillotine is hanging over your head. If I fail at providing for my family, then I'm a failure of a man. It is like, because that's the words that were used by the chatter, was if I failed to do this, I'd be a failure of a man. And I think that is you socially constructing a box for yourself that you have to fit into, and that's oppressive to you.
But
All
I think
of
there's
this
an
is made
issue
up.
because
It's all made up.
It might be made up, but it doesn't exist in isolation to relationships between men and women, right? Because
course
for as
not.
much as there might be other men who might say you're less of a man, there are women who say, I don't want to engage with you sexually
not
because
talking
you're
about
not
that.
that category.
Please, can we not?
But we
We're
are
not
talking about
how
that.
other
Wick,
people
get him out of there. Get him out of the pill.
You have to, because
Drag him out of that black hole of nihilism. I hate it. I hate it. Let's stop talking about it.
We're missing something.
Enough.
You're missing a bit.
Enough.
All
You're all
like-
missing a bit. Okay. You're all missing a bit. We do have to get more people in on this discussion. It's gonna go. It's gonna be Xerxes, and I love you, Xerxes. I do. I really do.
I do
Well,
have to
I
go.
I'm gonna crash out if you keep
I have to
letting
go
him
pee
deviate.
for a second, so I'll be
I'm
right
gonna
back.
crash.
Okay.
I'll be gone for a
That's like
second.
my thought. We'll give it to Prime for a moment.
I hadn't actually raised my hand, but I
Oh.
will.
Alright,
I'll put no worries, fan. I should be the star any which way, so it makes sense. I guess what I want to put forth is that, like, I think the formulation of the question, the topic itself, is a bit off, and that, like, I don't think that Republicans like do much to necessarily like the Republican Party, right? The party apparatus actually does much to deal with this topic of masculinity, like at all, really. I don't think that's like a big thing within like their platform or what they push. And at the same time, to reflect that, I don't think the Democratic Party should be doing that as well. That's not where we look for politicians, right? We all had like trouble like talking about policies on both sides that actually address these things. But where this conversation is happening is on like conservative, like leaning influencers, right? It's an influencer space. So like on the right, they're having a lot more conversations about masculinity, manhood than we see on the liberal leaning side, right? The leftist side. And that's where it should go. And I think the distinction here is important, right? Because like it's different when you're asking a party apparatus to necessarily fund these things, to build these things out, rather than looking for like to support like grassroots influencers who are like coming up and like actually can genuinely speak to the audiences that we need to be spoken to.
But Prime, that's what the Democrats are doing, right? Like they fund, like I said, these Harry Siss and Dean Withers. Those are Democrat. I don't want to say they're Democrat operatives,
The DNC
but that's
is not funding.
They're not parents.
Them. So what they
no,
can
but they're
do,
promoting them, right? Like these are the people that are getting the most attention.
Okay, all right, but that's a difference. That's also a difference too, right? So I think the best the party can do, and I think this is what happens on the Republican side, is that for these influencers, they can appear on their platforms and then like raise their platforms or something, right? You know, in that way. But it's different than asking a party apparatus to do these things, because I don't think either one is set up to actually have these conversations. Instead, we actually want to be finding influencers on the left who have these answers, who can fit the role. Like what you were saying, or someone was saying about like fitting the stereotypical even look, right? Having the muscles, like, you know, like doing the fitness thing, but still having a steady hand and be able to push these values and responsibilities. That's what we want. But I don't think we will get like the DNC is set up to do that.
I agree. The Democrats should give me money.
If I
Indeed.
may, and I wish Visora is here for this. I don't know what she's doing, but she'll be back soon, I hope.
She said she went to the bathroom.
Oh yeah, that's true. But I do want to get this out because it's important, and I think this will drive the remaining 20 minutes we
Subscribe to Wick.
in a more okay. We'll get to that, right? But in a semi-productive fashion. One of the things that men want, especially young men, is purpose. Okay, they want purpose. They want something, right? The traditional role of being a provider, of being a supporter, of having that responsibility to care for a family. What a lot of young men see that as not as a burden, not as a box, but as they matter. They're important. They actually serve a function that if they don't serve this function, things will go wrong. And they want that space. They want to be the provider. They do. They want to matter in a very real way. And again, you may argue that this is a bad way to matter or a toxic way to matter or what have you, but Republicans are providing this way to matter for men. And I don't see that same thing from the Democrat or the left side. I don't see that.
So
I think it's perfectly fine.
Hold on 1 second. But
Go
the
ahead.
Republicans, I don't think the Republicans are providing this. I think the conservatives
Neither
are
do I.
speaking to it, though. Like,
Okay, by
what
providing,
do you-
they're speaking
sure,
to it. You're
Sure. Yeah, no problem. But but what do we actually want here, right? Like, I think I agree with your point overall, Wick. But I think that's been undermined, right? By like women, their wages increasing, their role in society increasing, where women can.
that is part of the crisis, yes.
Yeah, right. So like, is that what we want? Do we want it simply to be a case that men are like paid more, and so they're in a monetarily advantageous position, and then they can be the leader, or
No,
like,
he's asking for validation.
or we can
Wait.
sure.
Let Prime finish. Let Prime finish.
Yeah, almost done. So yeah, like, can we define what it means to be a provider in this day and age? Because before it was like just having a financially advantageous position. But you're saying, is it validation? Is it I don't know, to feel that their role is within the family is better defined in some way? Like, I don't know what that means.
Okay, let me try to answer
that.
Yeah.
Well, I
let me
was just
try to
telling you,
answer
it
that
is.
just real quick. Hold on. Let me try to
Mhm.
answer that because you did ask a question. I think it's important to answer that. I think that what men want is to feel that they matter, right? And how do we provide that? I wouldn't say by going back to where women can't have like fucking jobs or can't have fucking a bank account on their own.
I'm not going back to that, though.
I don't think that's
Government
the proper
mandated
path.
girlfriends.
Well, yeah.
We're not
No,
going
women
back.
can just be
I've
nicer.
spoken to that topic before.
Oh,
Women can just be nicer to men.
Let
and
me
just,
finish.
you
No,
know,
wait,
tell them
wait,
that
wait,
they're
wait,
meaningful.
Wick,
They could.
Wick,
Don't take
Wick.
the bait.
Let Wick talk.
Can I ask you a
Not gonna let me
question?
answer
Because I'm gonna forget.
My answer
because
doesn't matter, okay? Because your question is more important than my answer here.
well, no,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna forget.
Please, lady.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
because
go
in
ahead.
your setup for this, you said that Republicans are speaking to this, and Democrats aren't. And I would disagree. In fact, I think the Democrats spoke to it more, especially during the election, because there was a lot more talk of let's give you increases in your access to money. Let's decrease your taxes by $6,000. Let's give you the permanent child tax credit.
Sora, you're doing it
All of
again.
this
You're being too smart.
No, but
They didn't
all
focus
of
it
is
on
money.
men,
If-
and that's
if
all that
men
matters.
Men want a purpose, do they not?
Yeah,
Well,
but
the
men want to
purpose
be
that they
men want to
want
be
is to-
pandered to, and we're not pandering to the
Okay.
men.
No, they don't
Yeah,
want to be
well,
pandered to.
yes,
they want.
they do.
They
want
want to be
Everybody
treated
wants
like
to be
men.
pandered
They
to.
are valid. They're
But this
valid.
right here, then
Wanting
why
to
do
be the
why
provider
don't the
is valid.
Democrats confirm that worth and value to
Men
males?
just
then?
want to
Why
be
don't
able to
males
answer
see
a
it?
question without getting interrupted. That's what I'm
Why
Men just
can't
want to
men-
have fun.
That too. But my question is, Desora, why don't the males see that coming from the Democrats then? If that's what they believe,
Because of the
why is this
media
not
environment.
communicated to them?
Because of the
The
media
media-
environment.
The
Which
messaging.
The
does
media
what?
environment is
Panders to
entirely
women.
right wing.
Who
That
does Harry
panders.
Sesson? What
Are you talking about? The media
Harry
environment is
Sesson-
all right wing. Harry
Okay, so
Sesson makes like a
TikTok,
drop in the bucket.
Okay, so
Yes,
on TikTok, who gets
Yeah.
pandered to?
I don't know. I don't go
Women.
on TikTok.
The
It's not
No.
young
the
men.
youth.
The The Democrats
No,
do
of
not
course they
pander
do
to
not.
No,
young
you
men.
can't say that,
They don't
'cause
even.
generally-
They don't
No,
get
TikTok-
TikTok. Wait, hold on. That's a
any
lie.
ideal
TikTok
that
panders to
males
you
like or
based
care
on
about,
your
so.
algorithm.
They have
TikTok
a little
panders
algorithm,
to,
yeah, like
yeah,
that.
it's
Like,
based
it
on
panders to
whoever the fuck
everybody.
is
What are you
using
talking
it, my
about?
guy. If
Yeah.
you love Andrew Tate and you go on TikTok, you get pandered
You'll
to
find
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
Andrew
He's been
Andrew
Tate
Tate,
banned.
yeah.
manosphere
He's been
shit.
banned. No,
No,
wrong.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
been
but
banned
like,
on
take this
TikTok.
a step
You
back.
literally
No,
can't
but
even
the
mention
shorts
Andrew
still go
Tate on
through.
TikTok.
Phineas
Andrew
The
has
Tate
a
is
good
reason-
answer
not
for this.
gone.
The reason that
Stop,
we all
of
think
you-
this
all
is
of
an
you,
issue.
please. Phineas
I'm
has a
honestly
good
done.
answer to this.
This is so obvious, and they just one, they keep falling for the Xerxes bait, but two, it's just so fucking obvious that like the right wing is better at pandering to men. They have all the guns and the trucks and all the traditionally masculine things, so they all fall into it. Now, I'm never gonna get to say this in this debate because everyone's gonna have a fucking crash out if I do. But it's just so like fucking obvious. I don't know why that's even arguable at all. It's like, oh well, the right's not doing anything. It doesn't matter. All they have to do is embody traditionally right wing things, and suddenly we're there. So. This is fucking stupid. I'm so annoyed by them talking past each other, but like Wick's not going to be able to refocus it. I definitely can't. I'm trying.
Right? We don't have to put these things in opposition, but that still doesn't necessarily address the thrust of it. And I think it's valid for people within a group, right, who's feeling themselves being held back by the systemic issues to want, right, their politicians to quote unquote pander to them, or to actually, what that actually means, address the issue.
Yeah, like this whole thing is so
Absolutely.
silly.
And
like this, I don't know why this is an arguable
won't
point.
answer.
The right, I agree, obviously is not providing material things to men. They're obviously making all these wealth disparities. They're making people's lives work. But all they have to do is, again, this is a neutral to negative on the Democrat side versus a positive, right? They are not appealing to men on the Democratic side, and on the right wing, all they're doing is, hey, look, I like guns and trucks and cool stuff and sports and shit. Don't you want to vote for me? And it's working. That's the problem. The whole debate is the problem that they just have to have brain dead fucking
The right's
traditionally masculine
relatable.
pandering, and it works. And we need to do some sort
But
of
they
thing.
don't do just that.
They don't need to just do
One of
that.
the- one
That's
of
the thing
one of
that's
the most
winning people
effective
over.
One of the most effective attacks that Trump had during the campaign was Trump's for you and she's for they them, right?
Mhm.
They're for the
Which
other.
is a lie.
This is exactly
I
what I am
understand
saying,
it was a
Wick.
lie.
This is exactly
know,
what
I
I'm
know.
saying.
Effective
The
attack.
messaging
You don't
is
have to
something
throat
that is
clear every
completely
single
irrelevant
time
to
that it was
talking
a
about
lie.
trans
We've
issues,
said
and it
that
works.
enough. I think people have gotten it. Okay, that we
It's the
don't
media
believe it. We
environment.
can genuflect later. But here's the crux and the core of it. As I've been trying to get out, and my brevity does. Oh, that pizza looks delicious. The brevity is not one of my strong suits, and I apologize for that. Okay. But what I've been trying to get out is one of the ways that Democrats need to come forward and to win and start the process of winning men back is to recognize that they fucked up, that they
Exist.
have been dismissive of men's problems, that they have been telling men to kind of shut up and sit down, and we're going to stop doing that. I think that's the first step, to say we aren't going to allow our politicians
I have an example.
to dismiss you
Well,
anymore.
to,
I
Wick, if
agree.
a
I
black
have an
woman is
example
speaking,
of
we
this.
will
Simple
sit down and
thing.
shut up, all
No,
right?
hold on.
So-
I have a really simple explanation that you're
I'll
right,
sit
Wick.
down and
That
shut
you
up,
could
and
just
you can say, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, you should, as you should. Get me a beer too while you're at it. Look, a really easy way that we can do that, by the way, is just change some of the wording that we use. Like, for example, we talk about deaths in war and we talk about women and children all the time, but we don't ever mention men because apparently, like, men are all counted as combatants in that issue, for example. That's one thing you could do. Just a small little increase in how you word something instead of saying, look at all these women and children dying, into look at all these people dying. And yes, it's more women and children, but it's not discounting the fact that men are also being killed and also counted less. Let's say if we're talking about Gaza, for example, the count of how many civilian men died, I'm going to go ahead and assume is just a couple hundred, maybe thousand short of how many were actually civilians versus how many were combatants. And we always talk about the women and the children, which is important as well, but it's the phrasing. So I can see that there could be some phrasing distinction to add a bit more pandering to men on the Democrat end. But at the same time, like, can we drop the idea that the Democrats actually work for you in any way? Like, there's like three Democrats that give a shit about
disagree.
you.
Look, we're gonna have a debate, me and you, Visora,
That's a
maybe
different-
Prime too. I think that the Democrats are working for people, and They're messing with Tux.
Yeah,
Some
right?
of them are.
Hold on,
I
will
think
fight
most
all
of them
you
are
on this.
controlled
But
opposition.
Biden, for example, did a lot for this country, right?
I agree.
Especially
Biden
unions
domestically.
Yeah, but Biden's
and
gone
all these
now,
things,
so
right?
that's not
Yeah.
that's not even relevant.
Obama
Yeah.
did a lot for people, right? He was
Yeah.
very strong.
Obama's
on
gone
things like
now,
the
so that's not
border.
relevant. The
But
DNC is
here's
pretty
the
much
thing.
dead right
Here's the-
now.
We're
here's the
talking
thing.
about
Reframing.
Democrats today, Wick. Democrats
Now.
today.
Okay.
Democrats today.
Well, Democrats today don't know what they are yet. They're fighting. They're in a civil war.
It would
That's
appear
what,
so.
no, they're
I mean, it is
controlled opposition.
No, they are in a
bent
civil
the
war
knee.
right now. You were on one
like
side
the-
of the line. I'm on the other in the control.
We
But-
need to
You
acknowledge.
guys
I'm not a
don't
Democrat.
use you at all.
Oh my god!
Please,
What?
wait, do not
Oh
call
my
me a
God.
Democrat.
Okay.
Go, Wick, go!
This idea that we can appeal to men by changing how we refer to things sometimes is not going to work. We need to be stronger. We need to come
Well,
out
yeah.
forcefully, and we need to say, we fucked up. We are going to do better.
Fuck that. No,
Right?
never admit
That's what we
wrongdoing.
need.
That's
Fuck
emasculating, Wick.
I
We need to come out
disagree.
and say, actually, we've done everything right. Because that's all that Trump ever fucking does. When's the last time he
That's
ever
true.
said he did anything wrong? Fuck that.
Yes,
I'm not going to come up and be like,
never play
oopsie
defense.
doopsie, I'm so sorry, man. I'm going to come up, hey, you're a fucking pussy ass bitch if you don't vote for a Democrat. You want me to fucking slap you
Yes.
across the face? That's what we're going to be doing.
The soy pill, based as fuck.
Not
What
gonna
you
work,
come
bro.
out and say is the Republicans have been lying to you.
Wick, I'm
They
gonna bully you
pretend
till
like
you
they give
come.
a shit about men, but all they've done is destroy your lives, take your rights away, make it harder for you to get near any woman because now every woman in America is terrified of Republican voting men. That's what they did for you. How about you join the side that actually gives a shit about improving your life? Whether you're a man, a woman, child, I don't give a shit. We just want to improve your life if
That
you're an
is a-
American.
We need to
Every
stop-
Democratic
we work for
man needs to be
Americans.
wider
Better
and
narrative,
larger than
though.
every Republican
Yeah.
and mog them in every debate. That's how we win. I'm sorry. It's actually going to be
Yes.
how it works.
You're exactly. Stop being nice. Stop playing defense. Control the conversation. It's their on. They should be defending everything
Okay.
themselves.
Yeah.
Every
Let me,
single point.
Let me read these.
TLDR,
super chats,
Wick's a
then we're gonna
bitch.
get closing, right?
Sorry.
We're gonna get.
Whoa, whoa,
We're gonna read these super chats, and we're gonna do closing statements.
I
'cause I
got
know
I gotta
people-
head out. Hold on, let me do
Oh,
mine. Just
Yeah,
head
do
out.
yours real quick if you have to go. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks all for well, thanks Wix for inviting me. Thank you all for having a great conversation. I think it was a lot of fun. Shout out to everyone. Nice to see you again, Bass. And Nasser. It's been a very, very long time. I hope you're doing well. Visora, fiery as always. And like awesome. I
Good
think
to
you're
see
great.
ya.
Just letting you know that. And then of course, Soy Pill. I haven't met you before, but this was a lot of fun.
Nice to meet you,
send
man.
Yeah, I'll send you a friend request. Hopefully we can work together in the future. But again, Wick is fantastic. I really appreciate him having me on, inviting me. A really amazing individual here. Subscribe to him. Support my friend Wick. Yeah, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, thanks. Bye bye,
See ya.
and we'll see you soon. We'll read
Good to
out the
see ya.
jam in a second. But
Cool.
I do want to read these super chats, and then I want to get this to the closing statements, and we can wrap this up. But $5 from Joe the Mig to say delusional. Clinton era Dems rolled over. Republicans with a unified liberal message. $5 from Miles Kinslow to say the Trump administration first term helped protect due process for men during the rape on campus hysteria. Thank you for $5. $5 more from Joe the Mick. She's genuinely wrong. Domestic violence rates between men and women are near parity in the US and UK. You need to get the Tin Men on these discussions, Wick. Hey, you have them DM me and I'll see if what we can do. $5 from TL1524. It's funny to watch the toxic feminist not realize she is one. The point is demonize half the populace. They won't vote for you. It's that simple.
Thank
you. $2 from
One
Joe
third,
the Mick.
but
$2 from Joe the Mick. Wick, don't allow this whataboutism. £5 from Jacob Buckingham. How much for the bike with the cap to never be on a panel again? You're the only one
bike?
with a cap on, so there you go.
What's a bike?
I don't know. He's British. It might be slang. I don't.
Hope it's not a slave.
$10 from Joe the Mig. It's not a social construct that men want to care for their family. Our hormone profiles literally change to increase our care aspect when we get married and have children. Blank slatism must end. Thank you for the $10. $5 from Testicle Johnson. We need to normalize men windmilling their peens in front of their partners.
Hell yeah.
Okay. $5 from Chernog Rebellion. For people so smart, the left wing sure does suck at explaining their points. Maybe instead of glazing yourself about how smart you are, self-reflect. $5 from Lisa. The Republicans appeals to feelings, and Dems are trying to appeal with facts and data despite your feelings. Facts don't matter if people don't feel good. Thank you for the $5. And finally, $5 from Joe the Mick. Republicans pursue policies to help the nuclear family. Quote, Republicans are lying to you, end quote. Thank you for the $5. Okay, with that, thank you, all of you, for being here for this. I don't know if it was productive, but it sure was interesting debate. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thanks to all the people who showed up. I do have links in my comments below to all their stuff, including Primes, who had to leave a little early. We got some great content coming up. Tomorrow, I'll be debating Counter Connor, or counterpoints, if you will, on the deportation issue and the immigration issue. He says Khalid Mahmoud Khalid, Khalil, I'm butchering
Khalil
the name.
Mahmoud.
Thank you. Should be deported. I strenuously disagree. So we'll have a little one-on-one debate.
process for everyone.
Ring. I'll be entering the ring and defending due process and freedom of speech. Yes, even for non-citizens. That should be fun. On Thursday, we're going to have a show on Trump saying that he isn't joking about wanting to run a third term. So that is going to be a fun discussion as well. So tune in for that. And with that, let's give it to Bass to start us off, or let Visora have the last word. Bass, tell people who you are, where they can find you, what your closing thoughts are. Go ahead.
All right, well, I'm Bass FZZ on YouTube. Like I said earlier, I'm a social commentator, I like to say, talking about society and all that good stuff. To close, I think that without much of trying very hard, I've kind of shown exactly what the issue with the Democrats or the more left-leaning side of these discussions are. And that is, for as much as they themselves might, if I give them the grace, understand that there's nuance and complexities to these issues that young men are dealing with, oftentimes they are very quick to dismiss them, at least on the front end, and they don't give much space to the emotional issues and weight that young men are going through and what they're feeling. The reason why the manosphere, the red pill, right wing, all that good stuff is growing so much in male favor is because there is a space of, at least, even if you don't agree with it, at least some type of standard or concept of being a man. Whereas on the left-leaning side, they either have deconstruction or just they're told, or they only hear of their toxic aspects. And as such, just from that psychological point of view of like, well, this side doesn't like me, but this side gives me something to go for, whether the Republicans, conservatives, or whatever even adhere to any promise is irrelevant. They're not outwardly hating them and telling them they're terrible people. And so I think that's our masculinity problem right there.
Yeah.
I'll
Thank you
end it
for
with that.
Yeah, thank you for being here, Xerxes. I always appreciate you on the panel. I appreciate your perspective. You can find his channel. It's linked in below in my YouTube comments. So
It was good.
go
This was
check
good.
him out. Nasser, go ahead.
Well, I think when it comes to masculinity, it changes through the ages. Generally, it also, some people have to, it's kind of really subjective. You know, there are one-parent households where the boy in the family will have to grow up a little bit sooner than in certain cases, or there'll be parents on both sides. Or so I guess we're talking about the single-parent household. They're going to be in search for like a masculine figure, and the red pill may end up filling that gap. Unfortunately, we need better role models, probably on both ends. It's not necessarily just one. And it doesn't really even have to be on the political lines. It shouldn't necessarily be. It's like we need parental guidance outside of politics, at the local level, among your community, that doesn't have anything, it doesn't have to do with politics. We just need good role models that are not like hyper clout, the hyper clout generation, we'll call it. But it's just interesting. And I liked Viz, but Viz also needs to like olive branch a little bit more. We gotta stop harping on negative traits and kind of olive branch and kind of understand that males make mistakes and males need to learn to grow and be held accountable. And then same thing with Xerxes. Men should probably be held accountable at times, and they need to be held accountable at times when their mistakes are made. So it's we need to olive branch both ways, you know. All right,
Both
I'm done.
ways.
Ah!
By olive branching. No, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. And gang, just to be clear, I'm not
Can we get a
ending the
flex?
stream after this. I do have some things I want to talk about, but I am ending the panel. We're going to send these lovely individuals out. I just want to let you know. So don't leave. Stay. Okay, Soy Pill, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like I said at the beginning. I don't know why we kept deviating off this. The messaging and the pandering is not there for the Democrats. The Democrats, like Xerxes said, unfortunately, I have to agree with them a lot in this debate. And I say that, Xerxes, because you and I ideology, we just don't align. But when you say something that's right, I gotta acknowledge, yeah, Democrats are doing neutral to negative pandering to a very large swath of the population, which is men, specifically white men. And I'm not saying we need to identity politic and embody that. I'm just saying that you need to acknowledge their grievances in ways that aren't alienating to them, and that's what we're doing. My point was proven like 2 or 3 times in this specific panel. Visora was saying something based and objectively correct, but it didn't matter because people didn't understand it, whether that was Wick or Xerxes, whoever. And that's just proves my point. It's not about the point that being true. It's about how you present it. And right now, the way we're presenting it is bad. We need more people on the left to embody masculine traits, to be, bodybuilders, fitness influencers. We need people to be, like I'm the gun guy, I'm the truck guy. That doesn't mean we all have to do it, and I don't think we all need to do it. I think there's plenty of room for all sorts of men all over the spectrum. I just think we sorely need the traditionally masculine ones so we can win those people that are on the right back. Happy Trans Day of Visibility. Trans Day of Visibility. More trans men need to be testosteroning up the place with woke masculinity. That's what I think. And all I can say is, yeah, if we need, there we go. There's the flex. Yeah, all I can say is, yeah, let's be more masculine. Let's really do it, left. Dang, I'm pretty.
Good job. Soy Pill, always a pleasure. Thank you for being here, and I do really appreciate your perspective. You can find a link to his channel in my description. Last, but certainly not least, always fiery, one of my favorites, Visora, go ahead.
Well, first off, I didn't know it was Trans Day of Visibility, so thank you. And happy Trans Day of Visibility to anyone who might be watching and is trans, or not, really. But no, I agree. And realistically, I think that the gender role stuff, I don't tend to give a shit about, because I don't believe in gender. I'm a gender abolitionist, but I can engage with people who do. But I think all of this goes beyond all of that to just the point of empathy. It's just empathy. We don't have engagement in local communities. We don't have in-person social interaction the way that we used to do. And because of that, and because of the online engagement communities that we built in the last 20 years, where you have a mask, where you are anonymous, where you can say more, where there's less consequences, we have lost our ability to empathize with other people to the same extent, even if it's only conditional. Maybe you do have empathy in some cases, but online generally, especially when it comes to politics, we don't apply empathy to anybody, let alone the opposition, just kind of in general, anyone who disagrees with us as a society. Not all of us. And this is a larger issue on the right, but it does exist on the left as well, and not just the Democrat left, further to that as well. So really, I think empathy is my key here. If you want to win as a Democrat,
Hearts and minds.
Empathy, substance. You got to improve people's standard of living, improve the material conditions, and you also have to, we would have done better in this last election if we did push DEI and identity politics. If we did, Kamala Harris never said the word. Yeah, Kamala Harris never said the word transgender this entire election. Maybe she should have. Maybe we should have pushed harder for protecting DEI initiatives. Maybe we should have had Kamala Harris talking about how this is mostly white women who are getting benefits from it. I think it's a matter of messaging, as you have said, the Soy Pill. Secondly, it's the empathy. And thirdly, it's the material conditions. Everything else is a distraction that is manufactured by the right. The masculinity issue exists, but it is also a manufactured issue. It's not to the extent. It's not to the extent that, it would exist without the media environment around it. Okay. But that's my take.
Okay, gang, you can find her. I linked to her YouTube channel. You can click on that link in my YouTube description and give her a follow. Thank you all for being here. We're not leaving.
Thanks,
I'm just
Wick.
letting them go away. So I'm going to leave you guys to go away. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me on, Wick. And nice to meet you all. See ya.
Woo! That was a debate. Who's happy about that one? Jesus Christ. These people cannot talk to each other. Every point misinterpreted. That was so frustrating. I've never felt so alone and lonely as a male as I did in that debate, because just no one got it. I'm going to go read your super chats now. Let's see what happened here. A $4 super chat from Arc GPU. Thank you very much. I like the videos, man. Sup here. Yep. Thank you very much. Iamus the Fox super chatted $5. How is it that the token woman has a better grasp on masculinity than most of the men? Because most people just don't understand it. Mick Skittles, I like that name, $5. As a Republican, the answer is easy. Stop saying men bad and stop being so gay. It's that easy. The ladies tirade in the left corner is an example of men bad. I mean, I agree insofar as men bad is the interpretation of what's happening, but I don't think that you're going to get the left to be less gay, which, first of all, is not a bad thing. I think it's good that we are gay. In fact, everyone in this chat is gay on this glorious day. But sorry, if you don't like gay people, then get out of my party. Evan A has become a member. Thank you, Evan A. Marura Newan, I think, has super chatted $5. Thank you for being like the one reasonable and grown-up lefty I've heard in a long-ass time. Genuinely mad respect towards you and your videos. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm trying. I know you guys all wanted me to crash out, but I just didn't have the energy. I was just more sad. And finally, Albert Hunley. Oh my God, guys. Albert he's on fire. He's donating me. He's giving me ideas for videos. He donated to the fundraiser that I put up, so please go check that out. Because right now, I think the only two people that have donated are me on accident as anonymous, me on purpose, and Albert. Guys, go help them out. It's in my previous post, but Albert Hunley says, thank you for the $10. I got to rewatch the rest, but I hope the role of social media was brought up. Not to the degree it should have been. My own kids get subjected to that idea. You're giving me money and you have kids? Man, you must be loaded, because kids are expensive. I guess I'm kind of your kid. Can you adopt me? My own kids get subjected to that ideology, and I have to explain that it's not right. It's all around them. Yeah, no, it's insane. I mean, the rhetoric of what should a man be does not exist on the left, because the left has the correct answer, which is a man should be whatever he wants to be. But that's not enough direction for most people, and not enough people are educated enough. And so you get that, and you're like, well, I don't really know what to do, and you're not really holding their hand through it. And suddenly it's like, okay, well, hold on, this Andrew Tate guy told me if I just, demean women and go out to clubs and party, that we'll all be good. And then that's why they're all going there. So we need more people. I hate to, toot my own horn, but like me, that are giving a more positive direction for men. It's like, yeah, go work out, go self-improve, go talk to women and fail, unless you're gay, and then go talk to men and fail. Although gay men really have a better handle of this, so it's not as big of a deal. There just needs to be more people like that. And the Dean Withers and the Harry Sissons, they're not it. All right, like, they're little Twinkie boys. They get canceled for being what ostensibly should be a masculine thing, which is getting hella bitches. Sorry, it's not happening. What's going on in chat, guys? Guess that's my cue to leave, because I don't support sodomy. Sharky Brick Films. Yep, sorry. I mean, honestly, I hope you change your mind, but if you're out here just like, oh yeah, gay people bad, I'm not going to take the time to try to convince you of the humanity of someone who just happens to like someone that of the same gender. Yeah, if that makes you uncomfortable, see ya. Crashing out would have contributed to the chaos because only one person there would have received your point. Yeah, it wouldn't have helped. I know when to crash out, and that was not the time. We're going to make everyone gay. Yeah, no. Bernie Sanders is going to win. He's going to force feminize. This outfit needs to be called the Soy Dude? Type 1 at the end of Deep Gate. They got canceled for that? No, so Harry Sisson got I guess everyone's like, oh, we're distancing ourselves from him. But it's like he didn't do anything, as far as I could tell, wrong. The worst thing I think he did was not tell certain women that they were exclusive. Or maybe he did and they didn't know about it or forgot about it. And it's like they were upset because they're not exclusive. And that's fair. If you wanted to be exclusive and he didn't tell you, it's like, okay, you can call him a dick, but that's not cancelable behavior. That's just him at worst being a dick. And it's ridiculous that it's even a conversation. But that's because that's where the Democratic Party is right now. It's stupid. It's not gay people bad. It's stop being weird about it. Oh, mixed Skittles. Okay, look. There are let me teach you about this concept of tolerance, okay? There are gay people cultures, period, that make me uncomfortable. Okay, you go to the Folsom Street Fair in Pride, and there's people peeing on each other in a kiddie pool, and you know what? I will drag my balls through a field of cactus to defend their right to do that, because I don't give a shit that it makes me slightly uncomfortable. I give a shit that people are trying to stop them from being able to get married. I give a shit that they're trying to restrict trans rights right now. So yeah, oh no, it's a little uncomfortable, but that's what tolerance is. I don't have to love it. I don't have to love scat porn. I don't have to love the entire BDSM community. The point is, these people are being oppressed by a fucking dogmatic, demagogic regime, and it's fucking bullshit. And I don't give a shit on these little minutia of, oh, this thing is a little weird, oh, Pride Parade is a little too expletive. I don't give a fuck. Okay, if it's makes me uncomfortable, I won't look at it. I'll tolerate it and look away. It's not a big fucking deal. And these people are being oppressed. This is ridiculous. These people need rights. They deserve respect. And if you want to get disgusted by one thing or the other, or think it's weird, that's fine. Just don't fucking take their rights away because you're a little uncomfortable. I don't know how much I trust the first positive descriptor as men as empathetic. Yeah, masculinity is actually really not empathetic in traditionally, right? Like, they're very much usually not able to connect on that level, and that's something that we need men to do. So that would be a positive thing to instill in men. I like teaching men empathy, but unfortunately masculinity is the opposite. It's like, oh, don't show your emotions. Oh, talking to your friends about that is gay or whatever. It's bad. Stop being weird about others do with their own lives. Exactly. Hey, I've been wanting to get into political content creation and debating. Just wondering if you have any advice. Don't. No. Just start making stuff. I've been making stuff since 2020. And if you go back and watch my original videos, I tried watching one recently. It's slow. It's off pace. It's funny because I'm hilarious. But, like, it's not great. And I've been improving. And, like, if you just put stuff out there, like, no one's going to watch it. Don't worry about it. Just put stuff out there. Keep creating. See what works, what doesn't. Compare yourself to others all the time. It'll make you feel amazing when you are not as good as them. And just message people and try your best to just put yourself out there. It's all you can do. And then eventually you'll get lucky with the algorithm and blow up, apparently. As somebody who is super queer, I respect that a lot from you. So hell yeah, doofy do. Jonah Greenbaum, don't think I forgot about your Aaron Sorkin monologue shit posting in my chat. Aaron Sorkin, I hate you, Aaron Sorkin. I don't hate you, Jonah, but Aaron Sorkin. The entire BDS community is based. They probably all have great politics. Just don't go to the weird shit. Exactly. Folsom Street Fair is based. I actually haven't been in quite a while. I'd be interested just to, like, look around, to see what the fuck is everyone doing. But whatever. Yes, Sparky Doggo, had someone been advocating against gay marriage, I would have said that. I don't know, good name. Find the other small creators and have debates with them. Yeah. What's your opinion on the Wongo Taz situation? That's got to be like a made up thing, right? I was like, guys, I'm going to VidCon, and if you go to the website to buy tickets, it's just all these, it's like, all your favorite creators are here. And it's like that Family Guy clip where it's like, Chad Wickerson, Wick Chatterston, the Dingus McPlobler. And it's just like, who are these people? I don't know who that is. A good name. Yeah, join Nonfon's community, guys. He's great. We should have had Nonfon in there. I wanted a young millennial male's opinion on, like, the views of both parties. So you don't like the gay leather community? No, I don't not like them. I'm just saying, if I saw that and it made me uncomfortable, like BDSM, like, hurting people for pleasure, that's not something I particularly enjoy. And, like, so I might watch someone do BDSM, especially in public, and be uncomfortable by that, right? But I tolerate that. This is not me being like, oh, I love it. Awesome. It's cool that they're doing it. It's, that's not my thing, but that's fine. That's their thing, right? And that's the whole point of tolerance. It's not, oh, this is gross and weird, let's stop it. It's, oh, okay, well, that's not me. You do you. Cool. It should be that easy. But everyone apparently is like, a gay person kissed in public. That's gross. Ick. We should get them out of society. No, what the fuck? These people, like, the Republican ideology is so based on, like, disgust and aversion to these things. And it's like, okay, you can be disgusted by that, but, like, why do you want to oppress them and, like, take away their freedom to do that? The danger of gender ideology should never be something you have to hear in public, Jonah. I'm sorry. Soypill should debate the Daily Wire team. Well, I kind of did with Michael Knowles, but it's so bad faith, it's kind of hard to get a word in. The issue is the paradigms of masculinity men gravitate towards versus the paradigms liberal in particular want to present. I kind of know what you're saying. Yeah, it's like, okay, if there's room on the left for someone to be incredibly effeminate as a man, that immediately alienates people as like, oh, well, this is the effeminate gay party, and it's stupid because we need to be able to be both. Like anyone should be able to do whatever they want. The Daily Wire is going bankrupt. Hell yeah. I don't know how you feel about you dragging your balls through cactuses. Nobody is asking you to do that. Yeah, but if I had to save the LGBT community, I would be the straight ally, white savior, and I would do it. Yeah, sorry, Spot. I read your weird comment. I don't know what it means. I'm glad you understand my vitriol for Sorkin, Jonah. Dude, you're buff. What the fuck? Yeah, I'm going to do the workout video. It's going to happen. June time. Look for it in June. I'll teach you all how to get naturally fitter than 90% of people and not worry about the minutia of whether or not you're like right fourth quad delt whatever is 30% more wide. The left lacks Johnny Bravos. That was my whole point. Dang, I'm pretty. Do the monkey with me. As a furry, I've seen some true freak shit, although shit's fine as long as it doesn't hurt anyone. I agree. Government mandated HRT. Honestly, I think every man should be force-fed Lupron sterilization until they get a license to get off of it and prove that they're not going to be a weirdo. The prompt is, do you all got a masculinity problem? And I'm trying to show you what right-wing think. No, I understand, Mr. Skittles. Right-wing people see effeminate gay things and they're like, that's not masculine, and then I'm going to get away from that. The problem is people that like you who do see that, I don't think we're ever going to win over. If we leave any room, and we should, for gay people on the left, you are immediately just going to get turned off no matter what. So that's not who I'm trying to reach out to. I'm trying to reach out to the independents and the right-wing people who are only there because they feel alienated as a man, not because of gay people, because they feel like they have no direction from the Democrats, or the Democrats aren't addressing their problem. Jerry Casey, soy, should I hop on gear? Don't hop on gear. It's never worth it. This is the marshmallow test, guys. So much of my politics is marshmallow test. Like, do you want 10 years of more perfect looking muscles, or do you want to not die when you're 35 from a heart disease? Don't do steroids. Max Sterner, so you didn't read my full job. I forgot what your full job was, but you work in a clean room. I hope you do the thing you're going to do on April Fool's tomorrow. It'll be really funny. Albert Hunley, I'm almost 40 and my wife hates that I'm not very emotionally available. I hate it. Hey, Albert, that's the first step towards fixing this, right? You're less emotionally available. Your wife is letting you know. Now it's time to, I don't know, maybe go to a therapist and like ask for strategies, or just like sit and listen and like see what she does and try to emulate that. And it's hard because you're changing a fundamental way you think, but it's awesome that you're thinking about these things and trying to change them. That's great. Also, thank you for all the donations. You're flat. You're showering me. You're spinning all the ones on the stripper pole. Press 1 to file bankruptcy for the Daily Wire. Yes. Soy pill, what color is the tip? I'm assuming that's sexual, you thirsty boy or girl. This is peak because breaking this down socially is an anthropological study. Oh, I think you're talking about the debate. Okay, hold on. I'm losing you on chats. To be fair, what wouldn't Soy drag his balls through a field of cactuses for? I would only do that for people that matter. What made you choose your little YouTube character? I thought of the idea of the soy pill, had a friend draw it for me, and it's been that since. Ains, don't tell him to do... Stop. Just subscribed. I learned the word recalcitrant because of you. I like your videos. Well, I'm happy I can teach you some vocab. Thank you, ISO. I think it would be totally fine if liberals were the female yin to the conservative male yang. No. Absolutely not, FanFX, because what happens then is you cede masculinity to the right, and even more of them are just going to be like, oh, this is the male party, and unfortunately, men have more power in society right now, so absolutely not. We can't do that. Gay people, yeah, that's the thing. Gay people can be masculine. Like, when McSkittles is thinking gay, he's just, I see your all caps McSkittles. I'll get to it. But yeah, like if you don't like effeminate gay men, like, okay, I'm sorry. They exist. They're going to keep existing. And if them existing on the Democratic Party is going to make it so you can't be part of that party, I'm never going to win you over because they're always going to be there. And I love them to death. So sorry, we're not getting rid of them. We say, bye, bitch. Get out of here. Sorry. We can't change who we are. Thoughts on the April 5th protests? I've never heard of them. But yeah, McSkittles, let's see. What's your all cap? I don't hate gay people. Just stop broadcasting it with a megaphone. If people want to look, stop shoving it in their face. Again, I'm sure you could exist in a place that makes it so you don't really have to look at gay people. Guess what? They exist and they're not going anywhere. So, sorry. Sorry that makes you so mad. Those darn gays. Oliver, it's clear that he really, like, you say you don't hate gay people, but you don't even want to look at them. Like, sorry, you kind of seem like you kind of hate gay people. Like, I know you don't hate them, like, oh, their existence I hate, but it's like wanting them to disappear from public is very, like, not good. I'm sorry. Soyo, if it ain't letting me donate, I don't know what's happening. Well, Anita, you're already a patron. I mean, I'd love for you to donate, but, like, you don't have to. Does the tip turn gray when you're sick? Is that a thing? Soy Pill looks like a rejected 1980s adult film actor, and that's not an insult. Thank you. You are a beautiful man. Thank you, Joe Johnson. People can like what they like, but if I'm minding my business and I got to see... Okay, McSkittles. Here's the thing. If you see two gay kids kissing, like, okay, that's one thing. If you hate that, like, you're done. If you're worried about seeing BDSM in public, okay, I understand that. And the thing about Pride Parade, which is really great, is the BDSM thing is literally all like one street. All the weird sex shit is Folsom Street. So you have to choose to go to Folsom Street to see all that weird shit. So if you're turned off, like I said, there's some kinks there. And I don't like this whole idea of not kink shaming, because I'm sorry, some kinks are gross to me. I'm going to say it. And you can have it, and I'm not going to shame you particular, like, oh, you're a bad person, but just, hey, I think that's gross. And that's fine. I tolerate that. So if you're walking through Folsom every day, if that somehow was your life, I would understand the aversion to the weird kinky stuff, okay? But this is not what's happening. And if like I said, if it's two gay dudes kissing, if that's your problem, you're never going to find like common ground on the left. But if you're worried about the kink stuff, sure, just stop looking up. First of all the kink stuff that I see is primarily posted by the right wing, because they're like, look how crazy and gross this is. So I don't see left wingers like parading around kinks all the time. It's always pictures from the Folsom Street Fair, like posted over and over and over again, used to demonize the gay community. So you're probably seeing some right wing drudged up hate. That's your issue. Tinfoil Freak, member for 2 months. Thank you. I'm sorry if it's already been asked. What do you think about the Florida child labor laws being rolled back? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. I actually am sympathetic to the idea of like having a job in high school, but that's not really what it's doing. It's like, hey, you can work overnight, and hey, like we're, definitely going to be taking advantage of children in the workplace. So no, I'm not a fan of it. It's dystopian and terrible, and I hope they get rid of it. But they're not going to. You can be gay, just don't make it known or I'll puke. Yeah, pretty much. Look, McSkittles, lay out your full opinion. If I'm not giving a good faith interpretation of it, I promise it's not because I'm trying to. It's because you're saying a lot of things that are indicative of the average white wing anti-gay rhetoric that I hear. Yep, Connor Mason with 2 gay dads says it the best. My dads, should my dads refrain from going on dates for your comfort? If that's what makes you uncomfortable, yeah, that's ridiculous. Now, if his dads were in BDSM gear at a restaurant, yeah, I might have an issue with that. It's kind of weird. But if they're just kissing or like, holding hands, it's like, all right, if you got a problem with that, I'm being forced. It isn't masculine if I ain't donating. I didn't even know if you were a man or a woman, but, either way, embodying masculinity, yes. Everyone who does and does not donate to me is gay. Sorry, if you donate to me, you're gay. If you don't donate to me, you're not gay. Yeah. Hot take, conservatives arguing about trans people is not actually being woman or men, is like arguing about how the dad of someone adopted is not their actual dad. I think you lost me there. And HMMM isn't even here to give me the stroke thing, but that was pretty close, Lincoln. I'm sorry, I didn't fully understand your point. Maybe you could rephrase it. Albert Hunley says, I think toxic masculinity is an emotional term. I think systemic masculinity, now that's not going to work. We do need to make a new term for it, but it's got to be, I don't know, it's got to be like, you just say like, oh, that's guy's just being a dick, You don't really call women a dick. You say, oh, that woman's being a bitch. So it's got to be like, oh, this is dickish behavior. I know that's dumb and dumbing it down, but that's really what you have to do. It's so stupid. But toxic masculinity, it just triggers people. As a content creator, you always try to call out liberals, kind of just shitting down on people for being intolerant. Not that it's deserved more. How do you strike it down without going? I think if you're talking about the idea that, like, I can't just shit on people for being intolerant, look, I understand that, yeah, you need to leave room for some people, but I'm saying I don't have any energy right now to try to win over the people that are like so ideologically captured that I don't think I'm going to convince them. If you think gay people are gross, why am I talking to you? I'm not trying to bring you over to my side. If you think black people shouldn't have rights, I'm not going to waste my fucking breath, okay? If you think, hey, I'm not really a fan of the border policy because it lets in this amount of people, and I think that illegal immigrants commit X amount of crime, and like you can kind of like have some reasonable discussion and maybe bring them over to the left, that's who you shouldn't be alienating. But if these people are just like, I hate gay people, well, okay, fuck off then. Like, I'm not going to try to change your mind. Like, you already hate so many of my friends and family for who they are. Why should I give you the time of day? There's a very strict line on these like ideologically captured people. And yeah, especially with the thing I tweeted out today, if people are saying, I want Donald Trump to run for a third term, like I'm okay with him grabbing that power, you're lost to me. I'm sorry. There's no discussion we can have where this is somehow okay. You're fucking insane. Hey, Soy Pill, over here. Oh, okay, again, Lincoln Thomas. Conservatives arguing about trans people not... Wait, is this the same one? Not actually being women or men. It's like arguing about how the dad is someone adopted is not their actual dad. I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so a dad, a biological dad is a biological dad, and that adjective matters, right? It means, oh, this man's sperm created this child. And then your dad is your father figure. It is the person in your house. It's the person who might be married to your mother. Like saying, oh, trans women aren't biological women. It's like, okay, that's why we put the word trans in front of it. Like everyone knows that. And they're like, huh, so you can't deal with biological reality? It's like, no, every trans woman knows they aren't biologically a woman. That's why they're trans. That's the whole point. They're not ignoring that. They're embodying what it means to be a woman in society and expressing themselves that way. It's a fucking, like, the fact that conservatives, after like, I don't know, 6 years of this being a mainstream talking point, somehow still haven't gotten past that first step is insane to me. McSkittles, I drive through cities for a living. I see shit all the time. Okay. What, do you drive through like the Castro district or like the sex district or something? I mean, again, if you're upset because you're seeing people being like sexually expressive in public, I might agree with you. Like gay or straight, I'm not really a fan of people like, you know, being like explicitly sexual on the street. I don't think people should be able to have sex in public. I think it's a little weird, and I don't think everyone should have to be forced to be exposed to that necessarily. If that's what you're complaining about, that has nothing to do with gay people exclusively. So I hate seeing all the gay stuff I look up. Hey, Soypil, I just want to say that the way you are approaching politics is really important. Thank you. Thank you, FM. White wing. Did I say white wing? Was that a Freudian slip? You can be gay, but make sure the crime part is related to Tesla in some way. Be gay and do crime. I see what you're doing. Intel, thank you for the $5. Giving some spare money for the entertainment. Thank you. I appreciate that it's spare money too. Please, guys, again, I really appreciate the money. It really helps me. Do not give me money if you can't afford to. Thanks for making well-researched content and hoping to see you hit 100 million. Like 100 million subs? I hope you mean 100,000. 100,000 is my goal by the end of the year. I don't think I'm going to hit 100 million, guys. Sorry. Guess I'm not a lesbian anymore. Damn. What, did someone stop you from being a lesbian? Is this in reference to my biological thing? Because again, being this is like when people say, oh, if a man has sex with a trans woman, he's gay. It's like, well, if he's attracted to the trans woman because she looks like a woman, then he's not gay. He's straight. That's the whole point. And it's like, yeah, it's technically two biological wise, it's two XY chromosomes, people, two biological men. That doesn't mean you're gay. If the definition of gay is what you're attracted to, gay men are not attracted to passing trans women. They're just not, because they look like women. That's the whole point. So no, I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, Monkey. You're still a lesbian, I'm pretty sure. I'm happy I could fix your sexuality for you. Learned recently that there are 10 trans athletes, and the trans debate is even less sensical than I thought. I almost was on the Majority Report today to talk about this. Like, I remember I've called out Emma in one of my videos for having a take on trans women in sports I don't agree with, but like, it's not worth the time, guys. It's such a niche issue, and I'm not going to be like infighting with the left right now when like this is the most important thing right now. Donald Trump is talking about running for a third term. Seriously, he said he's not joking. That is fucking insane. This is like the craziest thing that has happened in the past 3 months, given all the crazy shit. This is not okay. Everyone needs to be talking about this. This should be blasted all over the fucking media. That's fucking insane. Like, I'm sorry. This guy's actually doing dictator shit, like legit dictator shit. Fred Skoll, $5. Thank you, Fred. Online spaces that redefine masculinity tend to be queer spaces. Young cis straight men happen upon these spaces and tend to be excluded. It is messy. That is true. Yeah. Queer spaces, usually a little more educated in these topics. Unfortunately, they are the ones having the more interesting conversations, but it alienates people who are straight and aren't all with the queer lingo, and it sucks. What's the left inventing terms? I mean, everyone invents terms. I guess the right wing just steals our terms, like woke. McSkittles. Everyone is allowed to say what they do and what they like, but if I saw a woman in micro bikinis in public, I would like it. I would not want that normalized. Yeah, see, okay, McSkittles. And this is why I'm happy you stayed, right? If you just left because I misinterpreted what you said, you would never have gotten this point from me. But look, it seems like your grievance has nothing to do with the sexuality of people. Your grievance is overt sexual performance in public. BDSM, micro bikinis, nudity. You don't like that. And that's fine, right? Like, that makes you a little uncomfortable. You don't want to be seeing that everywhere you walk. And I, to a degree, agree with you. I don't want to walk around and see naked people. I like when people have clothes on. Yeah, sometimes if they're hot, like, yeah, they're hot, but I don't want that to be normalized. I want people to have a little more civility, a little more clothes on. But your problem is not with gay people. Your problem is with sexuality being overtly expressed. Just make sure you realize, like, when you see something and it disgusts you, don't fall into the right-wing trap of, oh, it's because they're gay and I hate gay people. It's because of a kind of a different thing, and it's kind of applicable to other demographics. Gays are cool, blacks are cool, Trump is cool also. I agree with 2 of those statements. Soy, agreed. Yeah, Connor Mason, yeah, you agreed with my point there about him having a problem with overt sexualization in public. You should close the poll, Mr. Pill? Oh, that's why people are still commenting about the poll. Yeah, let me close that for you guys. Thank you for reminding me. End poll. I guess 65% of you said it was buns. I agree, it was buns. I had fun, though. Not all gays. True. Wait, are you responding to gays are cool, not all gays? Well, hey, that is true. Not every gay person is cool. There's some pretty lame ones. What are your thoughts on George H.W. Bush as president? I really have not thought about him very much, and he's dead now. I say, Potts David G. Hi, Potts. Guys, go check out Potts David G if you didn't see in my recent ladder segment. Potts David G is great. So go check him out. And he says, I say we make it illegal to be straight. I think that is his unironic opinion. So if you like that opinion, go check him out and let him know what you think about that opinion. Yeah, bro is doing the ball gag run year round. Yeah, like I don't know where you're walking around where everyone is dressed in this like leather stuff, but I don't know, man. Jonah, you'll believe a man on the pink kryptonite can fly. True. I don't know if you guys know this, but pink kryptonite makes Superman gay for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why it exists. Anita Bonghit. I drive through the literal gayest parts of California weekly, and I almost never see any sex shit. And if I do, it's generally pretty tame. Yeah, Anita Bonghit, this is a while ago, I used to walk through the Castro district all the time, which is like the gay mecca. And the worst thing is that like sometimes sex shops would have like a sexual poster in the window, but it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that big a deal. So, oh, Brofox Scoot, I almost missed your super chat. $2, thank you. Hi, yes, which city I'm asking for a friend? The gayest city, or are you talking about McSkittles City? My city, I'm talking about San Francisco. I don't know where McSkittles is driving. Will you stream on Twitch or Kick? Should I? Is that like expanding my reach? I mean, I'm sure it is, but like I don't know about setting it all up or what that changes. You told us we can't be gay if we don't donate to you. No, I'm saying in order to affirm your gayness, like, you know how you have to go to Mecca as part of the 5 pillars of Islam? You have to donate to me, and that will make you gay. 1 billion subscribers to Soy Flex Pill. I will flex for another super chat. I will be your little performative thirst trap monkey. Can you say woman correctly? No, I can't. I always mix them up. I mean, I don't mix them up, but I just pronounce it wrong. Women, woman, women, woman. It was a reference to you saying non-donos are straight now. Oh, okay, gotcha. Is it safe to say Trump is a fascist at this point? I don't know if it's worth saying the word fascist. This is another messaging thing. Just talk about how bad it is. You know, if you say fascist, that word's been dumbed down so much. If you say Nazi, the word's been dumbed down so much. I support saying those words, but if you're specifically talking to a right-winger in like a one-on-one conversation, just be like, hey, isn't it crazy that this guy wants to run for a third term, even though that's against the 22nd Amendment, and also he can't do it as the vice president because that's against the 12th Amendment? Don't you think this is crazy? If Joe Biden was doing it, I would also have a problem. Wouldn't you have a problem? Like, don't worry about the word fascist. But yes, he is a fascist. Viva la revolution. Are you sure it isn't a distraction from Signalgate? I have no idea. The monkey's paw curls and soy pill does his best Trump gravelly accent when referring to women. Does Trump say it the same too? Shut up, silly woman. Shut up, silly woman. Yeah, he does. Okay, he can do it. Trump has a better pronunciation of that word than me. Would you review a movie that I feel thoroughly reflects the way Trump suppresses political opposition? I'm sure it might be worth looking at. The Great Silence. I'll put it on the list, but I can't promise anything because I've got a couple things lined up. The Tesla interviews went well, so I am doing a video on that. I like the whole third term conversation. I don't think he will mentally be here enough in 3 years to win. It doesn't matter. The fact that he's talking about it is fucking insane. Ooh. Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to skip some of these chats. Have you ever thought of debating people further left than you? Yes, but I'm not going to. It's not worth my time right now. There are bigger problems, unfortunately, than left wing. McSkittles. Things are meant for some people, and if everyone can just enjoy shit in the appropriate time and space without tearing down someone else's space, then we are cool. I think McSkittles, in general, I would agree with you. But if what you're referencing is gay people kissing on the sidewalk, I would disagree. If you were saying, hey, I don't want to see people, you know, eating each other's poop on the sidewalk, yeah, okay, we're on the same page. I think there's a nuanced discussion to be having about that. But I'm happy that I think we've come to a point where we can agree, McSkittles, which, by the way, are rainbow and are gay, you are not a homophobe. You just don't like overtly sexual things. So I appreciate you elaborating. Do you think that if Lex Luthor had pink kryptonite in his pocket for years, it would slowly turn him gay? In the same way the green one gave him cancer? I think he would just get cancer. McSkittles is in Texas, so I'm assuming he drives through Austin, yeah. I'm a queer person in a very gay area of Canada, and I've never seen remotely anything kinky on the streets. That's because they all run away and hide from you, monkey woman. They're like, she's not cool enough. Shri gave me $2 to call me gay. Thank you, Shri. Connie, you're telling me a buff bald man who constantly pursues buff Superman to control them isn't gay-coded? Yeah, Lex Luthor is a little gay-coded. Missed that one. Oh, the soy sauce is here. Guys, the soy sauce does amazing jobs on all of reading my scripts, making thumbnails. So can we get some ones in the chat for the soy sauce? She's doing a fantastic job. We love the soy sauce, okay? I've been acquainted with Soy for years. He's physically incapable of pronouncing women correctly. You gotta let it go. She's right. Unfortunately, it's just a thing. Thank you guys for showing your soy sauce appreciation. She's great. Guys, this fucking guy, I have to read this message to you. All right. Someone insulted the soy sauce, and this pissed me off. Okay. I got this Instagram DM, which, by the way, I've started putting my Instagram in my description, so you guys can all follow me there if you want. It's not a big deal. I'm at the soy pill. But this guy messaged me, sent me a request, and he said, "Hi, Soy. You got really amazing educational videos on YouTube." Okay, off to a good start. "But your thumbnails are honestly not." Now, to be fair, he might have seen my recent debate thumbnails where I just threw together a couple PNGs because the soy sauce wasn't available. But I don't think that's what he meant. And then he said, "You could be pulling millions of views if you had me. Reply here and I'll send you my work." So first of all, go fuck yourself. The soy sauce makes amazing thumbnails. Second of all, oh, I have to reply to you just to get you to show me your portfolio? Fuck you. Anyway, that pissed me off. Insulting my thumbnail person. I'm sorry, Captain Bucket. I'm still finishing one person, no vote. I will read Killing Hope. In fact, if you send me a copy, I will be obligated to read it. DM me for my address. Don't do that. DM me for a way to get me that book. Buy it from me on Amazon. Would you debate Charlie Kirk? I think Charlie Kirk would be a fun debate. I think so. Like I say, I always say like, oh, Andrew Wilson wouldn't be a fun one because I'm like, oh, he's just like so pedantic and like just goes off on these points, and he's also stupid. Like, so there's certain points that like he just doesn't get, and it's very frustrating. But I think Charlie Kirk, who again, I'm not saying he's smart, but like at the very least, I think he could have an interesting conversation. He taught me something actually recently. It was because of a religious thing, so I didn't know what it was. But it's I already forgot the word because I'm never going to use it again until I relearn it. But the idea of like Republican Christians being pro-Israel or pro-Jewish because of this word that starts with D, which I'm sure the chat will find at some point, which is the ideology that like, oh, God has a plan, and part of that plan is that the Jews are in Israel during the end times. He taught me that word. I forgot what it was, but I was like, okay, he knows a thing. That's cool. Trump versus Obama in 2028 would be peak. No. Stop it. Get him out of there. The soy pill hot take, every town needs a gayborhood. Yeah, honestly, gayborhoods are pretty fun. They have lots of culture and cool stuff. The 14th Amendment was outdated, according to your friend Testes. That's a good name, Testes. Yeah, your friend might be a little insane. I don't know if telling them violating the Constitution means anything. If they're a constitutionalist, can't wait for your next upload. Yeah, I'm going to try to grind one out in the next week or two. Hopefully it comes out good. But hey, good things take time. The left needs to understand popular front theory a little better. Less infighting. Yeah, I don't have the energy to fight the left right now. Oh, thank you for all the ones for the soy sauce. She deserves it. Lex Luthor does have a fetish. Oh yeah, no, Lex Luthor is an LL and Superman likes LLs. That's true. Lois Lane. Me pronouncing women correctly was the reason why I didn't understand the goatee is pronounced fish. Doofy doo? I have no idea what you're talking about. Dude was going to send you a generic image of you pointing with 4 red arrows and a red circle and woke. Which dude? Oh, Andrew Wilson? Maybe. Or Charlie Kirk. Dispensationalism. Thank you, Joel. I think that's it. Dispensationalism. That's the Jews remain in Israel. Dispensationalism. Do you ever worry about what might come after Trump? I mean, yeah, he's laying the groundwork for some shitty stuff, but it's not. I can't worry about it now because the immediate is so bad, right? Like maybe it'll get worse, but Andrew Wilson is entirely pointless. Yeah, unless you can make him look like a fool, which is hilarious. Like the person who got him on the correlate thing, that was so funny. Or Econoboy. If you can find the Econoboy debate with Andrew Wilson, he makes him look really dumb. You don't want an Obama third term? No, I don't want any president third term. I don't care if it's someone I like. This is the same thing where someone told me on Twitter today, like, oh, Matt Walsh is advocating for putting, 5th grade civics tests and no one on welfare can vote. And it's like, I don't care that that would help Democrats. It's bad and it shouldn't happen. I don't care that the Electoral College is technically, or like I would get rid of the Electoral College regardless of whether or not it helped the Democratic Party. I just don't like the way it works, right? Like I don't want Obama to be a third term because I don't think any president should run for a third term. Would you debate Hassan? I don't think Hassan does debates. I don't even know what I debate him on. I don't want to debate Hassan. It's not worth my time. Hassan right now, as much as I disagree with certain things he says, is pushing for things I want. David, I win every debate. I've never lost and I never will lose a debate. How close are you to making YouTube a full-time job? Pretty close, let's say that. And if it was, I might not say it on this stream. Let's say that as well. The guy who wanted to do your thumbnail, so oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you were insulting him. Gotcha. Cool. I want to stare at Soy's popular front, if you know what I mean. Good one. Soy, you missed my question. Sorry, Samuel. Can you type it again? Rewatch The Incredibles and Spider-Verse videos. Do you plan on doing more movie stuff? It's hard when there's so much politics stuff happening. If things wind down, absolutely. Because The Incredibles video is like one of my favorite ones. It's one of my favorite hot takes. Do you think the USA has taken a point of no return democratically? I don't know about point of no return, but we're really sliding off the deep end right now. We are torpedo. Like I heard someone ask, like, what are the top 3 bad Trump policies right now? Like destruction of our soft power and like negotiations with all of our allies. That's a big one. trying to get rid of like people's ability to vote through that executive order, and trying to grab power for a third term. And that's just 3 things, and there's so many more. That's just like the top 3 things. They're like, holy shit, if this goes through and people can only vote if they have a passport, we're fucked. If people can only vote, if we never get these like trade relations back and no country trusts us again, we're fucked. And if Trump is able to just be president forever, we're fucked. So yeah, we're not in a good spot. Putting civil tests on voting is reminiscent of literacy tests. Exactly, and that's why we shouldn't fucking do it. FDR was a special situation for World War II. What did you do before YouTube? Like industry. I did aerospace for 2 years out of college. Then I switched to software, which I liked a lot more. And yeah, but I'm a fan of talking on the internet more than either of those. Online queer spaces need a token cool straight guy. Hell yeah, like me, like Soy. So the young straight cis men don't feel excluded. Guys, gay friends are so awesome. If you don't have gay friends, go get some gay friends. Like, first of all, I think they call a hot straight friend a fruit fly because like the gay guys try to go at him and he's like, sorry, I'm not gay. So I apologize for that concept and whether or not I embody that. But gay men, very emotionally in touch, right? Hilarious and sassy. This is stereotypical, by the way. They're not all like this, but like the gay friends that I've met, like they're more socially aware, like a lot of women are, and they know how to dress, and they can help you dress because most men don't know how to dress, and I still don't because I don't go shopping with my gay friends, and I should. But go make some gay friends, guys. Hassan debates, but only if the person is harmful and has a platform. Well, I am neither harmful, and I barely have a platform, so otherwise, I don't think we'll be debating. Love the optimism. We never lost the debate, even if we were sad and close to crashing out. Exactly. Still a win because I had fun. Connor Mason says, you know, I'm really glad you're growing, but one day I'll miss being able to have an actual conversation. Hey, Connor, what's going to happen is eventually my chat's going to move too fast and I'm going to have to prioritize all the chats with these little stars next to their name. So you're already in the cool kids club. Leave me alone. I'm introverted. Hello. Hello. Well, wait, was I not supposed to say hello? Sorry. Hey, just wanted to say the way you're approaching politics is really important. Thank you. I think you already said that, FM, but thank you again. Lincoln Thomas says, sorry to be naggy. The movie I mentioned has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Wow, okay, I really should watch it. Are you pumped for Minecraft? I like Jack Black, but that movie looks like dog shit. Oh, Samuel Lloyd, so your question. My question is, why do Republicans constantly praise Reagan like he's a god? Because he did things that they liked, right? First of all, he had very strong energy like Trump did, and so they like that. So he ended the Cold War, and to a degree, he kind of did with his like, economic policies. But like watching the Soviet Union fall under him, that was a big win for him. The Iran-Contra deal was really bad, but like I think the getting the hostages back after Jimmy Carter was out, was that him? I think that was like a big like, oh look, he's strong and we like him because he's strong. Cutting taxes, that was great. Now what's interesting is he did something that a lot of Latino people in California like, which is granted amnesty to a lot of immigrants, and that's actually something I might agree with. But Republicans don't talk about that all that much. But essentially, he just embodies a lot of what the Tea Party, right-wing, modern conservative embodies, which is this like masculine posturing, strong politic, tax cuts on the rich, trickle-down economics, etc. They just like all that stuff. So he's a lot of that. Max Stirner, Incredibles Rise of the Underminer is a great game. I really like it. Better sequel than The Incredibles 2. Twitter furry artist peaked at 1.7k despite being the minority in the space is quite gay. Not sure I understand what you're saying, Samo. I'm happy you're happy about furry artists. Republicans have had a really bizarre love for Reagan. I don't think it's bizarre. I think it makes perfect sense with what they believe. Are we going to have a civil war if Trump gets a third term? I don't know about that. It would have to get bad enough for everyone, right? And right now it's not. It's bad for a lot of people, but people's day-to-day lives have to be genuinely disrupted for any sort of like crazy, like actual conflict. Software programmer socks? I don't have programmer socks, sorry. What do you think would convince younger progressives to actually go to local protests? They have to care about what's happening. They have to be upset. I saw like 3 young people at that Tesla protest, and they were very passionate, and one of them I interviewed did an amazing job, but if they don't care, if they're checked out, like you can try to get them to not be checked out, show them how real people are being harmed, but if they don't care, they don't care. Got to try your best, but get the people who have the energy. Tinfoil Freak is the gay friend? Well, awesome. Well, if you're ever in California, take me shopping. The token straight guy and all my queer friends started dating a man, and I'm devastated. Oh no. That sucks when the token straight guy is not straight. Really ruined his role. How often do you have these live debates? They're so fun. Lincoln Thomas, I'm so happy you like them. As often as once or twice a week, as little as never a week. It really depends on what the panel topic is. I had one, I agreed to this, and I kind of regretted it, not because of the people or anything, but I agreed to one that was like the D&D, like, is D&D a war game? And the whole time I was having fun. It was an interesting discussion, but I'm just like, holy shit, there's so much bad stuff happening right now. Like, why are we talking about this? And so depending on what the topic Wick brings up and whether or not I'm passionate about it, I'll go on those. But now Admiral Gibbs is inviting me more, and Prime, I think, does debates too. So maybe I'll do more of these. But I also do not want it to deviate from my video essays, because that is my primary stuff. So what miracle needs to happen for the government to cut military budget? Opposite day needs to happen. Sorry. Mr. Troop says, it's fine. I don't know what about. So did this end up being buns or peak? It was buns, but it was entertaining, I hope. Connor Mason, you are chosen Lisan Al-Gaib. What's my opinion on Adolf Hitler? Not a big fan. Oh, okay. Yes, FM. It was important to say it twice. Reagan, when the down doesn't trickle. Oh my god, the brain rot speak is going to get to me one day. My Reagan has risen for soy if you catch my meaning. Gay friends are great, EQ through the roof. Also, you get free drinks when going out if you are the fruit fly. I think that's not, like, you shouldn't gay bait for free drinks. Isn't that like girls like going on dates for free meals even though they're not interested in the guy? Like if someone approaches you with a free drink because they're like, you're hot, I want to hit on you, that's one thing. But if they're like, hey, let me buy you a drink, say, hey, look, sorry, I'm literally not gay. Like, I don't want you to spend $20 on some ridiculously like expensive drink because you're trying to have sex with me. I love some more news video of explaining how we got Trump from Reagan. Yeah, that's a great one. Go check that one out, guys. Some more news, how we got to Trump. Reagan was also the first president to majorly implement the Heritage Foundation policies. I didn't know that, but that makes sense. Calman, 56, I'm trans. Do you think I need to leave the country or stay and be more politically active? I think you should have a go bag and a plan to get out. I have yet to see it get bad. I think, honestly, the violence or the oppression of the trans community is not going to come in the same way it's coming for, DACA recipients or immigrants. I think it'll be more like, hey, you're not allowed to get your hormones anymore, or like something that's like a little less direct but still incredibly harmful. So, if the hormones are like a huge part of your life already and you need them daily and you can't get them because of some draconian policy they pass, yeah, I would leave, try to go somewhere where they're going to be better about that. If it's not as big, or you've got a big stock, or you have a way to deal with that, I think, have a go bag just in case you start seeing the writing on the wall. But for now, try to stay and help. Do you think there will be a Dem Tea Party? No, I don't think so. Not in the same kind of like ideologically captured cultish way. What's your video release schedule look like? Right now, it's one every about 3 weeks. I want to try to get it to one every 2 weeks. So we'll see how that refines. It depends on how comfortable I get editing, how much time I dedicate to it, and what there is to talk about and how long it takes to edit. Like, sometimes it just takes a really long time to get through something. I think Hassan would absolutely have a conversation with you. And I think you two have a lot of overlap in terms of approach. Yeah, I'm sure he would. And if I got big enough, he would talk to me. But right now, I don't know. But yeah, if he wants to talk, he'll talk. He said my name once. My friend super chatted him and said, check out the soy pills video. Should you leave the left? He said, oh, the soy pill? I don't know what that is. And he didn't click on it. But he knows I exist somewhere in that brain, in that big himbo brain. Forever Gaming 546. You helped me become more left as you're a hot, jacked guy. Really entertaining videos. Thanks for all you do. I hope the only reason you didn't become more left is because I'm hot and jacked, but I appreciate that you're on the right team now. And if that's because of the masculinity thing, then you are proving my point that we need more hot, jacked guys to be on the left. Play Elden Ring with Hassan. I hate those games. I'm so bad at them. They're good games. I like watching people play. I can't play them. It gives me so much anxiety. Bro is legit the newest up-and-coming left-wing talker. I hope that's me. Cool. Awesome. Hassan is a bad PR look? Yeah. He wouldn't debate, but he'd be for sure talk to you about some of your content ideas. Yeah, I think that would be a useful conversation. You previously doing aerospace is insane lore. I'm studying that right now. Good luck, Charlie Epic. Have fun with all your Navier-Stokes flow and your moment diagrams and your tensor equations. I got really bored of those. Samo asks, Soy, will you ever do a guide on how to be the cool straight friend in the gay group with more steps than other than PayPaling them $30,000? The step is just to be yourself and enjoy their company and hope that they invite you to their cool, fun gay shopping events, and then make sure they know you're not gay so you don't get invited to the orgies. I am too much of a Hasanabi meat writer. I can't diss him. I would go watch some like negative content on him and see if people could talk you out of it. Because like, again, I think he's a force for good overall, but he's got some bad takes. FM. I feel like globally more policies proportional representation are needed. Yeah, I would be really cool with more proportional representation in government. A woman offered me a drink and I drank it all in one gulp and scared her away. I scared her away with my skills. Yeah, hey, you dodged a bullet, man. Yeah, that is the throat goat. Do you think Trump's policies will necessarily affect other countries? 100%, yeah. Trans person from Australia here, just a bit worried. I mean, okay, if you're trans, probably not, but unfortunately, like him talking negatively about trans people is going to disseminate into the right-wing talking points of other countries. So to a degree, yes, but I still wouldn't be as worried. Were you always left-leaning? If not, what made you lean fully left? I was born in San Francisco. I grew up, progressive Democrat saying things like climate change is a big issue. We need to have more equitable policies. Racism's bad. All these cool left-wing things. And then the most right-wing or most right that I shifted was like, end of high school, college, where I was just being a little more contrarian. The anti-SJW craze was on the rise. So I was still on the left. I was still like, hey, I'm a progressive, but some of this stuff is kind of cringe. And then Trump became president and I was like, okay, I don't even care how cringe it is. Like, it doesn't matter. This guy's so much worse anyway. Like, at the very least, you pushed me just slightly away from the cringiest left-wing thing. I was still always a progressive. So I've never really left the left. Soy, I would like to thank you for trying to understand my point, but stop with the instant demonization. It helps to be nice to people. Okay, McSkittles, thank you. I am sorry. It's harder when you're through a screen, especially when your initial message comes off as, I don't like gay people. You literally, like, your first message is like, don't do gay shit, which is not good. Like, I don't like that rhetoric. So I agree. I should be nicer to people, even if they're talking through a screen and they're in chat, but I think your message was a little aggressive and it kind of was indicative of other fairly bigoted right-wing ideology. So I'm happy we clarified. I'm happy we got to a mutual understanding, and I'm happy that you're not homophobic. I apologize for demonizing you initially, but that was due to the rhetoric. So just be careful with the way you phrase it, especially when you're not homophobic. Like, you're just anti-sexualization in public. So let's see. Black olives are really good. Hard disagree. Amagumo, hey buddy. If only Bernie was a himbo. I think Bernie is a himbo. Yeah, if only Bernie was 20 years younger. Misha said, I unfortunately didn't catch much of the debate, but the part I did catch earlier gave me the impression that debates like these are not very organized or just brutish. This one wasn't good, but anyone with like Xerxes on the panel is going to devolve into chaos no matter what, every single time. Like, Xerxes is always going to reframe the conversation because he's so far outside of the Overton window of what everyone else believes that even people like me and him, we're on the same side as insofar as, hey, the Democrats have poor messaging to men, but then he goes off on all his like crazy ass, like, oh, and men and women don't have accountability, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, all right, like, this is going to piss everyone off. It's the bait. It's not baiting because he truly believes it, but it's bait insofar as like, this is not relevant. We should not be talking about this. So yeah, it was pretty chaotic. Anita Bonkit, if I message you on Blue Sky, would you be able to respond? Yes. You can message me on Twitter, Blue Sky, Patreon, especially you, Anita Bonkit, because you're a patron. If you message me on Patreon, like I get an email for that, but I will get a notification on Twitter, Blue Sky. Go ahead and message me there if you want. What is your concept of masculinity? I mean, I've said this before, but like, masculinity is whatever we want it to be, but like traditionally it's, hey, I'm strong, I'm a caretaker, I'm protective, I'm providing. Like, these are all things that are the concepts of masculinity that society has, and I think those are all good. I just think that we shouldn't force men to try to aspire to a very specific pigeonholed idea of what masculine is, because that leads to alienation when they can't meet that. I don't think people in wheelchairs shouldn't be emasculated, right? Like, I don't think that people who can't provide because they're stay-at-home dads should be emasculated, right? It's ridiculous. So masculinity is important. We need to pander to people and show them there are masculine people. There are people that embody some parts of traditional masculine behavior, but it's outdated, unfortunately. Guys, I'll be right back, and I'm going to try this. I've never tried this. I'm going to try, well, maybe I have. I'm going to do the be right back thing, and I'm going to mute my mic so you guys can't hear me go to the bathroom. He's back. All right, where was I? How's everybody doing? It sucks that it doesn't show all the chat. Dude, Albert Hunley, if you like don't have a mansion or just like have a Scrooge McDuck vault full of money, I hope you're not impoverishing your family for all the money you're giving. But thank you for the $5. I thought the law was precedent. Oh, the president can't serve more than 2 consecutive terms. A la Grover Cleveland going 3 times. Not that I want a 3rd Trump term. Was Grover Cleveland before the 22nd Amendment? I think the 22nd Amendment was, yeah. 22nd Amendment came significantly later, I'm pretty sure. So let's see. 22nd Amendment was passed when? What? Oh, here we go. 1947. Yeah, that's way after Grover Cleveland. So maybe Grover Cleveland did. Ooh. Lots of chats to catch up on. Yeah, okay, people are already answering it. There's an armored car fundraiser. I don't know if I can use the U word. My other thing got demonetized. That needs money. We can literally save lives, all while spreading the good word of soy. Yeah, guys, go check out that fundraiser, please. I thought the jacked PNG tuber was a joke. I didn't realize you were actually jacked. Yeah, it's kind of the like irony of like the, oh, I'm soy, but then I work out a lot, so. Libertarian and skeptical of the government, bloat, but there are lots of liberal ideas I want to agree with and vote for. Stop giving me reasons to not. Well, what are the reasons not to, checkmate? Maybe we can talk about those, but I think that if you agree with the Doge concept in principle, that's fine, but if you look at the way they're doing it is terrible, and I think there's many ways to make things more efficient and cost less. Hating Hillary isn't partisan. Yeah, it's really not. Democrats aren't a big fan, too. Watching Bernie Sanders' speech on YouTube was a mistake. Why? Do you think the damage done by Trump's actions permanently damage our constitutional system? Not permanently, but pretty bad. Amagumo says, did you guys see the China, Korea, and Japan are cooperating against the Trump tariffs? Yeah, isn't that insane that we've gotten half our allies and our enemies to disagree or agree together to fight against us? Samo says, can you mention Brazil once so I can celebrate it? Yeah, Brazil. What are your thoughts on the SF right-wing tech scene? It's pretty annoying. It's annoying, all the weird like tech bro, like right-winger people who are like, well, the left wing doesn't get how it's going, so that's why we all have to get in our pods and get our juicero juice. It's ridiculous. Nice haircut, liberal. Where did you get it? That haircut from the liberal store? I need a haircut. My hair's getting too long. How long are you going to be on stream? Until I get tired of reading your wonderful chats. Don't lie. You could not hear me pissing. I muted my mic. Bye, tinfoil freak. Should have added the P mic. Who was the guy with the Warhammer sets? That was the moderator. That's Wick. Okay, this is all you just talking over me going to the bathroom. Black Bear says, I powerlift and I'm on the left. I'm doing my part. Good job. I think my definition of masculinity isn't that being buff and huge and muscular, but instead people being able to be comfortable in your own skin. So, Mikhail, that's a better definition of what a masculine man should be, but unfortunately that's not what most people think of when they think of masculinity. Although confidence is one, but being comfortable in your own skin is definitely not one of them. So physical strength has nothing to do with masculinity. It's just the easiest way to exhibit it. That's a good way of phrasing it, Arkham. Piss break over. Gotta go. Been watching your stuff since Signifier gave you a shout out. Keep it up. Keep it real. You're doing everyone a solid. Thank you, FM. You've been really nice to me. I maintain my celibacy by being friends with countless lesbians. That sounds like torture. Like just all these amazing, friendly, hot women around you that never will want you just inherently. That sucks. McSkittle says it's important to watch people you disagree with. I agree, and thank you for being here, McSkittles. Don't give him too hard of a time. He's trying his best, and he clarified, not homophobic. Doing a presentation on the rise of authoritarianism in America with the Trump administration. Do you have any policies you recommend? I would look at the degradation of the checks and balances, so the way that he's challenging judges, trying to get rid of all of congressional power and give it to himself. These are things that I would consider authoritarian. Getting rid of the Bill of Rights by not adhering to free speech things like that, I would say are authoritarian. Where was I? This guy's really happy I mentioned Brazil. You're welcome, buddy. God, I wish this scroll bar wouldn't just keep jumping. It says nothing about having to be consecutive. Yeah, I don't think there's any consecutive rule in the 22nd Amendment. What can I do to resist the current oligarchy? Go to protests, go to organizations, donate to things like the ACLU and any other like judge or law-focused movement that is fighting back against it. Tell people about it. That's probably the biggest one you can do, is talk about how crazy this is, and like don't be alarmist, because it is alarming, but like don't be like, why are you not freaking out right now, even though they should be. You have to be like, hey, this is really bad, and like talk to people who don't already see this as a bad thing. Try to get like people to realize how bad this is, because that's the only way we're going to change this. I bought One Person No Vote, and I can't wait to start reading after I finish Reconstruction of Nations. Yeah, you'll probably finish the book before I did. I think everyone would understand each other's point much better if lefty YouTube audience switched with the right and vice versa. McSkittles, if I could snap my fingers and do that, I think I would. That would be really cool. I mean, I'd lose all you guys, so maybe not, but... Max Sterner says, the soy pill, my incredibly racist granduncle thought that China, Korea, and Japan working together was normal. Because they're all like Asian. Like that's rude. Yeah, that's insane. What did people used to call Brazil nuts? Is this like an H.P. Lovecraft's cat thing? If I Google this is going to be something weird. What did Brazil nuts used to be called? Oh, it is exactly what I thought it was. Good thing I'm not looking at that on stream. But you guys can Google that yourselves. Wow, I really pegged that one. Right on the money. I am the Fox. Thank you for the $10. Thank you for what you do. Have you thought about going to any protests? I was just at one on Saturday, the Tesla one, and I posted a little clip of it on Twitter somewhere, but I'm gonna put that all in a video. There were more people at that protest than there were at the Trump inauguration, which is really funny. Toy Bonnie, as a Mexican, I love your videos. Well, as they say in Mexican, gracias. This lady with the glasses is insufferable. Oh, you're a little behind. Yeah, it's unfortunate that she's very based and has all the correct opinions because she wasn't saying them in a way that these other people could understand. Thanos, I'm not going to oil up. Maybe I'll soy up. Maybe for 100,000 subs, I will dump soy all over myself. Or maybe for the workout video. Any tips for a muscular left-leaning guy thinking about starting a channel? Thirst trap, monetize it, and talk. What's your opinion on Vegemite? I've heard it's terrible. I've never tried it. Protesting does more than complaining on the internet. To a degree, yeah. It shows your support, but complaining on the internet, especially if you get a big platform, can change people's minds. So Glenn Haven says, it's hard being a bi Christian with a trans boyfriend in a highly conservative area. Wow, yeah, that's like 3 things they're not going to like. I know all of the people who disagree with me are not the brightest, but do you have any advice on how to navigate life? I mean, unironically, probably don't want to live there because they're not going to accept you for who you are, but I'm assuming your family and your community. Try to approach them like empathetically and be like, hey, like, I want you to love who I love. This is, my boyfriend, and like, this is who I am. Like, I know this bothers you, but just look at how happy I am. I think that really goes a long way when it's your family and friends. For the other people, though, oh man, like I would hide that from them because I've seen some nasty, nasty stuff come in the way of people who are, not your direct friends and family. I mean, obviously, your direct friends and family might be throwing nasty stuff your way, but oh man, like the church community and all that, they can get real, real nasty real fast. So, like if you can afford to go to a place that's more accepting, if you can't. If you can afford to break off from that. But yeah, otherwise, like try to reach out with empathy to your friends and families. Did you see the official TDA guide leaked from ICE? I didn't see it. I know that there was something about that like it was like, oh, like if they have this kind of tattoo, like arrest them. And it's like all these innocent people are being thrown under the bus. It's ridiculous. Natalie Brewer, sunglasses indoors. Yeah, you know what, guys? I can take these off now. The masculinity debate is over. We don't need that anymore. And I'm going to put the hat on. We're back. We're back in this. Do you know who Amir Odam is? I do not. Vegemite is really salty. Yeah, that's probably why people hate it. You should definitely do a one-on-one debate with Glasses Lady, but she's on the left and she has the right opinion, so I don't know what we'd debate about. Like, maybe we debate on messaging, but it's just not worth it. Like, I don't want to fight against the left right now. She's right about everything. So, like, except for the messaging part. I like the ideas of a narrowly focused, capable government that patches the exploits in capitalism. Freaking out about waste and fraud and abuse by Doge makes me want a small, ineffective government. Yeah, I mean, that's a defensible opinion, but I really like the welfare state, so I'm not going to agree. I don't know how I'd get you on my side, though. I'd have to debate a libertarian. I think it's like idealistically, there's so many libertarian things that like could work, but just never do. I've just never seen it work practically, so. Glenhaven, I am a minor. I can't do anything, but my family supports me. Well, that's awesome that your family supports you. Then honestly, like if you're ready to get out of there as soon as you become 18, do that. Like, and use your family as a support structure. Hide it if you have to. If these people are really going to shit on you for it, that sucks. Like, no one should have to hide who they are. But like, if you're in this like community where your entire city would demonize you for being who you are, like, I don't know what to tell you. Someone banning Thanos Duck from chat? Yeah, no, Soy Sauce is... I don't know if Soy Sauce is in chat right now, but she is a mod. All of the churches where I'm from went woke. It's the best thing that happened to religion in our area. That's cool. Now I can see your beautiful eyes. Thank you. Can we hear your Andrew Tate impression? I don't practice that one, and I don't like listening to him, but I'm trying to. How does he sound? I've got a Bugatti. You got a bitch in your Bugatti. That's how he sounds, right? My church is also very, very cool. Oh, well, Glenhaven, if your church is cool and your family's cool, maybe you don't have to hide this at all. Like, it sounds like you've got a good support structure and community. Who do you have to hide it from? The debate went buns, brass bomb. Please kiss the Pickle Rick. Super chat, man, I'll do it. When is the official girlfriend reveal? I don't have a girlfriend, so I'm not revealing anyone. Wax Blast, is it ethical to box with fish? Yes? No? I don't know. No? If you just punch a fish, they can't even punch back. We should have more red light districts? I don't know. Apparently sex work, as much as I support the idea of autonomy, increases sex trafficking, which we'd have to find a way to make sure that doesn't happen, but while also allowing people the freedom to do it. One of the gang tattoos that got someone deported was the autism awareness ribbon. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I saw there was like a soccer one. One was like a mom and a crown. And now the autism awareness, like these people are not getting due process. They're getting deported out of the country. It's insane. I thought you were trying to get less masculine by putting on the hat, not more. Sorry. Do you know who Andrew Wilson is? Yes, unfortunately. Would you vote for the undead zombie corpse of Franklin D. Roosevelt for his 5th term? Over Trump. Conservatives love woke. They literally can't stop talking about woke. Yep. A little less Australian. Was that Australian? Bugatti. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think. Trans and gay bi accepting Christians can be so awesome. Yeah, guys, I don't hate religion inherently. I'm not religious, and I don't like... Tate sounds like an Australian doing an American accent. All right, mate. Right, so here's what we're doing. Here's what we're doing, all right? We're going to get our bitch in the club, and then we're going to get her out in the Bugatti. Does that sound right? The people working at the church and not the people around me. I've had slurs hurled my way just for being with my boyfriend. Jesus. I mean, try to avoid those places, I guess, but I hate that you have to, like, suppress yourself for these, like, fucking bigots. Like, it sucks. But yeah, that's why I'm like, I guess get out of there. Or, like, if you have a majority of the population on your side, you know, like, yell back at them. But if it's just your family and the church, then when you become of age, get the hell out of there. You don't have to have a red light if you expand more social spaces and not have Planned Parenthood be attacked. I don't know how those are related. Why, if you get rid of Planned Parenthood, we need a red light district? I said eating Vegemite versus being molested was a tough decision. Is that a really insensitive thing to say? A little bit, but like Vegemite, I've heard it's really bad. I like the idea of healthcare as a service that functions as a network. Rhetoric of free and right to a product triggers my libertarianism. Change the rhetoric and I'll consider. Yeah, but like I'm not going to change what I think just to win you specifically over. Like I do believe in the right to healthcare. I don't think anyone should die just because they don't have money. So I'm sorry. If you don't agree with me, then I'm not going to win you over. But I just don't think, like, if you believe, like, this is what I'll say. I believe it's a right insofar as people shouldn't die for being poor. If you believe that, like Admiral Gibbs did a couple days ago, he said, like, I don't care if we get rid of Social Security and 17 million seniors die in poverty. I don't know what to tell you. If you don't care, then you don't care. Like, I can't convince you. No second spaces, less sex. I see what you're saying, Amagumo. I thought you were a banker. Well, I am Jewish, so it makes sense. Stretch the ah sound. Bugatti. Bugatti. No, I don't hear it. Would you shit on Donald Trump's bed if no one would ever know? No, because, like, what would that do? He'd just be like, there's a shit in my bed. Get the maid in here. Like, I need to see you debate Andrew Wilson. This way I know if I should lean left or right. I would give him a strong debate, but like I hate his stupid fucking like rhetoric where he just like gets all pedantic about a single point and doesn't let you move on. It's like, okay, well, this doesn't matter. Like, we're talking about the substance of this topic. You're like off in the weeds about defining this very specific thing, which you'll never concede on what the definition is. So what's the point? And if you're deciding between me and Andrew Wilson, like instead go watch Andrew Wilson debate like anyone who I'd probably like. So Destiny or Econoboy or anyone else that's debated him probably gave him a really good debate, and I think his ideas are dog shit. Also, he's like a Christian nationalist. If you're really deciding between me and a Christian nationalist, like, how is it even that close? Like, we are so far apart on the political spectrum. Like, if you're at all close to him, then you're probably maybe sympathetic to Christian nationalism, and that sucks. But like, if you're not, then go look up his crazier ideas and say, oh wait, this is disgusting and I don't want to do this. Do you think Vance has a high chance of being the next president? It's too early to tell. Did you know that Teddy Roosevelt wrote his Harvard thesis on how women should get the right to vote if they want it? I didn't know that. That's good. Good for him. Not having due process for even a single person is devastating to everyone's rights. Agreed. I had a dude yell transphobic slurs at me, and a dude came to my defense by calling a transphobe the N-word. It was like Hitler versus Stalin. I mean, yeah, props to him for coming to your defense, but yeah, that's a little yikesy to like bust out the racial slurs to defend the trans people. I don't know how the intersectionality of that one works out. Yeah, Solar, congratulations on graduating. Gibbs made me so mad, and I know I shouldn't let him get to me, but like, it didn't make me mad. I was just kind of taken aback by how blatant he was, that he's like, yeah, I'd let those people die. It's like, wow, all right. Do you think Dems should talk more about the Perkins Cole stuff? Or is it a big law firm too unsympathetic to a victim? I have no idea what the Perkins Cole stuff is. Are you about to make me look up another Brazil nut things? I have no idea what this is. I'm sorry. Bugatti. Oh, Bugatti. I see what you're saying. Your got is too self. A Bugatti. Most conservatives do that, like Shapiro. Should I talk to CJ the X? I think I'll do I want to... JJ, obviously, and JREG have invited me to Canada at some point. So when I have more money to travel to Canada, I will go to Canada. And CJ the X, I believe, is in Canada, so I'd probably see him as well. And then all of JREG's little posse, which is like him and Art Chad and Gokinaru and all of them. I'm not familiar as much with all of them, but I think I'm going to meet all of them and on VidCon. So it'll happen, I'm sure. Amagumo, I really like the Econoboy vid you did. Thank you, guys. Econoboy's very smart. Go listen to him. Did you guys see Pisco destroy Tim Pool? I did. It was great. My family is relatively wealthy, and my dad took us to Cambodia for vacation. Cool. People there are so nice. I don't know why people are racist at all. It is stupid. Did you get to shoot an RPG? I want to go do that in Cambodia. As my kids say, Bugatti. Oh no. I think Vance lacks the charisma. Even the right makes fun of him. It's hard to say. The fact that Destiny is famous annoys me. Well, he still is. I need a bong hit. Time for me to take off. I hit you up on Patreon. I will keep an eye out for the reply. I'll check this out after the stream. To the guy who had the guy yelling the N-word, this is an example of there is a bigger fish. Yeah, like in the immediate, he probably reduced the harm. You know, I'd still be mad at him for yelling the N-word, but he stopped you from being discriminated against. Yay? I don't know. It's like it's just not good no matter what. Well, thank you, Connor, for I finally got it. So do you make decent money off of this? I make decent money off the YouTube videos. I do not make decent money off of the streams, unfortunately. Do you guys just start hearting because I did this? Is that what that was? I don't make decent money off of the streams. You know, I do when you guys super chat. That's decent money, but the stream video itself doesn't make a lot of money. A lot of them get demonetized, so it is what it is. But the super chats, they, you know, depending on how generous people are, or if Albert Hunley just happens to drop like $50 in a night for some reason, that's decent. And not to say that I don't appreciate y'all being here, by the way. Like, obviously, I'm not doing these streams specifically for the money. If I put out a video every week, that would be more lucrative. But I think these discussions, I like interacting with you. They're important. I like that. So, what part of Canada? I think I would go to Vancouver and Ontario, which are not close to each other, if I'm not mistaken. Can you pay rent with just the videos? Yes, I can do that. I can pay rent with just the videos. Bye, McSkittles. Thank you again for clarifying. Expose Mr. Beast for eating cats? Mr. Beast eat cats? What? How do you feel about Sam Cedar? And I love Sam Cedar. And hey, Matt Lech He tweeted out my Ben Shapiro video yesterday. So thank you very much, Matt, for watching. And he also very frequently references two people I really like, Jose Not a J and Tib on Toast. So he has good taste in YouTubers. I will say sometimes I disagree with Emma's takes. I think sometimes she can have like a little bit of a silly take, and I don't care because she's still doing good work. Same with Matt. You know, Matt sometimes way more radical than me. What the fuck ever. When the Democrats get in power, when we're fucking killing it, when we have all three chambers, that's when I'll start criticizing them again. But like, you know, if they say something really stupid and I see it and I'm like, oh, that's dumb, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It's not worth it because they are doing good work. Sam is obviously my favorite. I like Sam's take the best. I think he's the most level-headed. I agree with him the most. But yeah, all of them are good. Emma, Brendan, other Brendan, Matt Lech, Matt Binder, they're all cool. I really like the Majority Report. I think they do, like, of all the people who do the daily news coverage, especially like the David Pakman, Kyle Kalinske, all those people, I think Majority Report is my favorite, and I watch them daily. I was just watching them today, but they didn't answer my phone call. My Vietnamese holiday in Cambodia. Why does everyone keep asking me what I think about Hassan Piker? I don't like his train of thought. I don't like the way he comes to conclusions, but I think he's still a force for good. If you dig deep enough, Shapiro has had some based takes. Interesting. Sparky Doggo, good night. Why wasn't Vance wearing a suit in Greenland? Because he's not thankful. Do you believe that a defining feature of masculinity is the provider protector, and is it good? Well, Robbie Bigwood, great name. It's not a defining feature. It is a traditional feature. Most men used to be the providers and protectors for generations. I think they don't need to be anymore. Women are in the workplace. Women can make a lot of money. I would happily be a house husband. It is good to be a provider. It is good to provide, but men don't need to do it. That's all I think about that. But if telling men that they should be providers helps them be providers, that's fine. I just don't want them to have to do that. And I don't want that to exclude women. So that's why I'm not a big fan of like enforcing gender roles. I do not miss Trudeau because I don't know much about Trudeau. And also, I'm sure the more I talk to JJ, the more anti-Trudeau pilled I will be. Can I debate SFO, like the airport? San Francisco airport? Connor Mason has been to Ontario. I highly recommend you go to the farmers markets. I will try it. When is the next video and when is the girlfriend revealed? Thanos Duck, were you not listening? The next video is in a couple of weeks, hopefully, if not sooner. The next girlfriend reveal is whenever I get a girlfriend. So, checkmate. My comment got skipped. Sorry, checkmate. I sometimes I don't see them, but to say it again, like guys, I don't want you to spam, but if I skip over your comment, if you say it again, more than likely I will see it. And don't get no one get mad at them for spamming the same thing if I didn't read it. In Squid Game, they're eating the Lunchly. They're eating the Prime. Are you talking about the Beast games, Jonah? I think there is a giant dilemma with red districts, since if you educate all people to genuinely respect the sex workers, they will avoid using the services, decreasing that industry to clandestinity. Clandestinity? Clandestinity. Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but some people just, hey, I know a lot of left-wingers that went to Amsterdam Red Light, and yeah, sometimes you just want to have sex with a prostitute, I guess. I don't know. Will I be talking about the Canadian election at all? No, because I am not an expert, but I do recommend you all go to JJ McCullough's channel and watch his recent videos where he says, hello, friends, and talks about it. He's very informed, and I think he makes fun videos, so. Ontario has an excellent water park. I actually might like that. Sam Cedar is goated. Shapiro has good takes on WAP. No. Bait used to be believable, right? Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Some of Shapiro's takes were based. Then he contradicted them all in later videos. Yeah. Do you think fitness should play a role in masculinity? Absolutely. But I think everyone should be fit too, so. When boyfriend reveal. When I have a boyfriend. Thanos, I did have a girlfriend. I no longer have a girlfriend. Sad face. No short fat otaku. I thought I was arguing with him on Twitter yesterday, and it turned out it wasn't him. But I mean, if he wants to talk to me, I'll reach out. I haven't seen him say anything that got me mad enough to even talk about him, period. So I don't know enough. Albert Hunley, Jesus, man. $5, thank you. I do it for the karma. Thank you, man. Speaking of cars, I hear Cars for U word I might not be able to say is doing some good things, and y'all should check it out. I agree. And Albert already donated. Thank you very much, Albert, for helping them out. Hey, there's going to be a sticker of me on one of the cars. Can you imagine the soldier, like, at his last thing he sees as he peels over, and my buck teeth and masculine PNG is driving over him? I think they take them off before they send them out to the front line. I've been seeing your videos for a while, and I didn't expect you to look so Chad looking. Well, now you know. I'm sorry, but I thought you were wearing a propeller hat without the hat. No, the propeller's there. I love your vids, by the way. Thank you very much. Acuna Reveles Carlos Armando. What a name. Hi, John. Based and spy-pilled. I'm going to head out soon. Goodbye, Jonah. Thanks for joining. Do you think banjo is a defining feature of masculinity? No, but it could be. Can you kickflip? Absolutely not. Tim Pools mogged me. What are your thoughts on straight people invading queer spaces, typically gay bars? I think if you do it like as, hey, I'm the token straight friend, sure. I think the problem becomes when you go into like a lesbian bar and you're like, you know, hitting on the woman there. That's fucking weird. I think it's weird if you have like a group of straight friends in a gay bar and like gay people are there to meet other gay people and they come up to you and you're like, look, there's not really a difference between you saying, hey, I'm not interested in you, I'm gay, but you're not my type, and hey, I'm straight, so I'm not interested in you. But you're guaranteed to be not interested in any of the gay men there if you're straight there. So just think about the fact of how much space you're taking up as a straight person in a gay bar and why there is a gay bar in the first place. I don't think you can never go in there, but like if you're invading these spaces and you got like a group of 5 dudes just being dudes, straight dudes, and it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like this is I'm trying to get gay sexed, all right? Don't do that. Gay bars are based in soy build. Oh my god, I caught up on chat. I only had to skip like a bunch of them. Are you masculine if you can do a backflip? Sure, why not? Aw, sweet propeller hats are based. Love all your videos, especially the interviews. Thank you, MK Havoc. And an interview video is coming. Are there straight bars? Most bars are straight bars, Moldy Man. Oob. Oh, like Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z. As the leader of the gays, Soy Pill has a universal pass and mandate to go to the gay bars. Thank you. Louis, I only just tuned in 10 minutes or so ago. Who won the debate? Me, every time. I've never lost and never will. I'm the superior debater, the master debater, if you will. Anyway, guys, it has been almost 4 hours, 3.5. Jesus, this time like flies by. I can't express how much I like doing this. Like, again, if I ever wanted to transition to streaming and just do like, 9 hours of this a day, I know I could, and I would enjoy it. I would do more content though. I wouldn't just be talking to you the whole time. I'd do like gaming or like, let's cover the news and then do a little gaming and then do a little talking. But wow, this stuff like really fuels me. Like I fucking love doing this. I love you guys. You guys are great. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. Hello, fellow oligarchy peasants. Hey, Legionary. I'm signing off now. I'm sorry. It's annoying to watch people hear completely reasonable points and then just say, I don't know, I'm going to keep believing. Yeah, it's always going to happen. Liberal podcast, you're wrong about that, explains it well. I don't know what that is. Don't make me play soy games, guys. Or soy games. Souls games. It stresses me out. I don't want to lose all my stuff, okay? I don't want to die and lose all my stuff. Give me like 16 million checkpoints, okay? Anyway, guys, I'm going to go get some food. I'm going to go see my roommate who just called. You called them soy games. No! I'm not playing Souls! Guys, have a wonderful night. Type 1 to end the deep state. Look forward to a new video coming up soon about Tesla, everything's computer. Thank you so much for your support. And yeah, you guys are awesome. Good night.